Evening, people. Welcome to the early version of the Red Zone today. With me is Gene. I was just about to Gene and Chip, and of course Sarib. As ever, we've got the full panel tonight. This was always going to be about Bournemouth. Always going to be the Sunday show is always about the game, but a lot of things have happened since. A lot of things have happened since 4:30. We had a masterclass in defending. Some people will say too much of a masterclass. You park a bus and you can't expect a victory, even though the equaliser comes in the last second of the game. Plenty of feisty affairs were going all over the pitch, on and off the pitch, and even in the VAR office. And also, we've got some quotations from our vice captain that we'll make sure we go over because since 4 o'clock, everyone has been talking about the scouts in our team, and we'll come on to Trent. But first and foremost, we've got a game to discuss. And before that, I must ask how my panel is. I'll come to Sarib. We'll start with the youngest tonight. It's only right. Sarib, how are you doing? What's going on?
I'm all right, man. I haven't touched base with you for quite a while. You and Gene, so it's nice to have the four of us back. It's been actually quite a long time since the four of us have been on the show together. So it's nice. We're gonna have there might be some arguments, there might be some points we agree on to disagree, but when the whole panel's on, there's always fireworks, and we're definitely gonna have a lot of those tonight, aren't we, Asim?
Gene, what's going on? We've already had a comment from Takadisha, very clickbait title. Aggregators don't even post the question to which he was responding, just context, the context, less snippets, very disingenuous way to report an interview, which gives no new
Osata, please. Let's get into it, isn't it? We'll talk about Trent. We'll be as fair as possible. We have read the tweets. Please.
Are you hosting the show?
I can anytime.
No, you don't host the show. I host the zone. It's our stable show. Just shut the fuck up and listen to me tonight.
How tell me how you are. See how mature he is. Mature he is.
You tell me how you are.
He went on a retreat to detox himself, and he's using the F-bombs 5 minutes in. Less than 5 minutes in, he's using the F-bomb.
I'm going to put you mute. You go on mute for a second. I'll come to Gene. I'm the host. You do what I say today. Gene, tell me how you are.
I'm absolutely buzzing. I'm not going to lie to you. Listen, this weekend, Liverpool won 3-0, clean sheet. My son went with me to the game. Man United drew. City drew. Arsenal drew. It's happy days, mate. It's all happy days my side.
Avi, I'll put you on mute. I give you a virtual handshake already. I don't want to fight with you.
We never fight. We never fight. You are like the word says, you're the captain of the ship tonight. You're always the captain. All good, Asim. It was a great day of sport yesterday, to be honest. Won a bit of money. I know you're not betting men. Won a bit of money on Dubois yesterday against Joshua. I'm sure you read or listened to my Twitter voice note. And Liverpool obviously win. And then today, it's been a great weekend. Probably the perfect result, if we're being honest. Today's result between Arsenal and Man City. And title talk begins again. Last week we were a bit despondent after the Nottingham Forest game. But a little bit more, we're in a cheerful mood today. Sarib included.
Avi wants to talk, title talk. Let's go into the game. As ever, we go to the lineup, Sarib. You didn't say you wanted Gakpo to start, but there were many fans saying it's harsh for Gakpo to sit on the bench against Bournemouth after his performance against Milan at the San Siro. But with hindsight, were you wrong, or the guys who suggested that idea? In hindsight, Diaz proved us, not me, because I always wanted Diaz, and I'm not trying to say I was right, but he proved a lot of people wrong because Diaz was in form and he only deserved his place on Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, I agree with what you said. I think I did say, though, I'll be honest, if I say something, I will stand by. I think I did say I want Gakpo to play because I thought his performance against Milan was really, really good. But I also did say I don't want Diaz dropped, so I was in a bit of a situation where I can't pick or choose, and I wanted the situation where they're both playing left wing, but we know that's not possible. But anyways, Diaz was brought into the team, no issues with that whatsoever, because both of them are in form, and Diaz has obviously been arguably one of the form players in the league, let alone at Liverpool. So I think you can't argue the fact that his start this season has been really, really good. I think it's 5 games, 5 goals, 1 assist, and I think he had 8 or 9 in the league last season goals. He's already 4 away from matching his best ever total in the season for Liverpool. So, and we're not even 10 games into the season. So I think that's it was quite nice. more so Asim, that he. Well, I know we'll dive a bit deeper into his performance, but he plays much more closer to the box now, which I really enjoy. And maybe that's because Nunez was playing in the personnel around him. But
Who plays much closer to the
I think
box?
when especially Diaz, I know he's known to go wide as well. But this season, I've noticed, especially, he's not afraid to get closer to the box and get into positions that we saw Sadio Mane get into year after year after year. Maybe that's a little tweak that Arne Slot has made. But I have
the opposite. Sorry,
you think?
I think he's a wide winger, and that's where he's playing to his strengths. With Robertson being conservative and going on the underlap rather than staying on the halfway line, and then on the left-hand side, McAllister doesn't hold width. So the onus is on Diaz. And
No, but he picks up a lot more central positions.
I think Asim, sorry to interrupt, I think Asim did allude to it where he was very close because he's got a good seat at Anfield. He was alluding to Slot was saying to Diaz, hold width. I don't know which game it was. It might have been the second game of the season. Brentford, I think it might have been Brentford, the game that we were at. But I do feel that he's finding himself, Sarib, these where I'll kind of support your argument, he's finding himself in good spaces, good goal-scoring opportunities. He's getting better at that in terms of his positioning. So I do think he still is holding width. I think he's going a little bit more on the out as well. I think he still prefers cutting in because of that lethal right foot that he has. But I do feel that he's finding himself in really good positions this season already. Even the last season, his positioning wasn't bad. He just wasn't scoring. This season, he does seem a little bit more calm in the final phase.
Maybe I should have said Asim. I think, the goals that he's scored, like if you look at the position he picks up, it's not him cutting inside from the left and whacking into the.
I was just about to come to that.
Like a goal against United was in a central position where Salah played him the ball. The goal against the other goal he scored against Man United was very, very close to the back post. A lot of his goals this season, again, the Konate long ball, Diaz was in a central position. He picks up the ball, runs past Kepa on the right hand side. He puts the ball in there. So he's picking up positions that I should have said in goal scoring position. He's much more close to the box than he was last season, in my opinion. And I understand what he said about he's holding width because he is a wide winger. But I think that's why his goals he's scoring a lot more frequently because he's allowed himself to get a lot more closer to the penalty box.
Big Unks is watching us from all the way from Pakistan. He goes, Assalamu alaikum, people from Malala, Pakistan. And I do know Unks has gone to Pakistan this time. He normally goes for his hiking missions and he goes to see family, not just once a year, many times a year, but this time he's gone for the very unfortunate circumstance of his nephew passing away. And all our prayers and du'as are with Bob and with the family as well. I hope God gives them patience during this very, very difficult time, and we send our peace and love from all the way from here, and all the watchers for the one and only Itzhak from Luton. Avi, yeah, I see what Sarib is saying. I think he's becoming better. I think Sterling, for about 4 or 5 years ago, was talking about how Guardiola used to coach him when Sane was on the right-hand side or the left-hand side, and how he used to attack the back post.
Yeah.
And you see Sterling just get a tap in. And people think, that's easy, but you have to it's all about the timing. It's all about the movement as well. So you have to give credit to Diaz. I think he's making that out to in run a lot better. That, ball from Konate was, the right time. It was a searching ball, but it was also a really good ball. Diaz, because of his movement and his control and his thought process, made it look an unbelievable ball. So it was a good ball, but Diaz made it as well because of his control and touch and finish. So I see where Sarib is coming from, where that run is becoming a lot better. And Carvalho in pre-season, you was getting told by Slot, even during games, how to make that, how to curve that run, how to beat the offside trap, how to get in behind if they go man to man in the in their last defensive line. And you have to give credit to Slot in terms of coaching, but Diaz for executing all his instructions.
Yeah, certainly. He's been that live wire that he was when he first joined the club, and I think when it comes to Diaz, guys, I'm his biggest staunch supporter. But I think in the last 2 years, that LCL injury that he suffered against Arsenal, it took him a while to get back. That was a 4 or 5 month layoff, and then last season he gets into early form. And then he has a little bit of a period where it's stale. And then his dad, the issues with his dad, he comes back, scores against Luton. And then he gets another period from December till February. Then he goes quiet again. We need the Diaz to do this over the course of the season. You know, we need him to carry this form in, because if he does, he's a contention for player of the season already, Asim, in the Premier League. And he, you know, to be honest, if we're talking about Diaz, he should have had more than 5 goals. He had opportunities against Ipswich. He had opportunities last week against Nottingham Forest. I know that shot was unlucky that hit the post, but he's been a live wire. And I think sometimes a new coach brings some fresh ideas. I think everyone is benefiting. I think Salah's benefiting too. Believe it or not, if he can't, he can't really get any better. But even his decision making, I bar the Nottingham Forest game, is being top notch, creating more. Holding his sort of runs better as well. Nunez yesterday, we saw an improvement and a great finish. I think they might have been told to be a bit more daring. We saw it with Gakpo's cameo yesterday, and Gakpo against AC Milan. He's beating his man effortlessly. How many times has he done that last season? He was always playing safe. Diaz at times last season was playing it safe as well. But this time they've turned the other way around and said, you know what, we fancy beating our last line of defense of the opposition.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
As soon as someone says, yep, he knows. So we shouldn't say anything.
Gene, I know hindsight's a great thing, but I'm going to ask you a difficult question.
Oh, no.
Nothing's difficult for me.
If the window was open now, would you still take Anthony Gordon over Diaz?
No.
That's what you call a flip-flop. That's a new movement, flip-flop.
I don't... Listen, and I'll give you my reasons why. Right now, no, because look, my biggest issue with the Diaz has always been output. And if the player is producing output, why do I need to get rid of him? That's just the simple truth. If your player is producing output, there's no reason for us to sell a player that's got 5 goals in 5 games. That's just the way it is. Everything else that Diaz was doing previously, we liked, but the biggest issue was he was missing chances. He was, he wasn't bringing in the numbers in terms of goals and assists, which I think Gordon would have brought in if he came in. Hence why I wanted Gordon over Diaz at that time. But if the lad is bringing in numbers, there's no reason to get rid. Look, Diaz's performance yesterday, again, Asim, as Avi's mentioned, he was really, really good again. That run that he made for the goal was unbelievable. And we've seen him make that type of run before. And it was a Mane-esque type of run. We saw Mane do that so many times. And he's producing when it matters. He had a really, really good effort, which the keeper saved. There was one inside, I think, towards. I like the fact that now when he's shooting, generally speaking, it's a lot closer to goal. He's not having just outside the box where he's having a goal. Now he's shooting just outside the 6-yard box, and that's a credit to Slot. Like you mentioned, they've coached him to such an extent that Slot has managed to get 2 of our players from Gravenberch and Diaz, turn them into really good players that are instrumental in the way we play. Obviously, you're going to go into Gravenberch, but yeah, right now I wouldn't change Diaz for nobody.
But we got to remember as well, he's had these spurts before. He does get off to a good start. You look at every season that he's been here, and when he joined in January in the 22 season, he's had these spurts where he'll have a good 5-6 game run. He will score goals, he will assist. He needs to carry that forward now. He needs to really carry that at least a season. Maybe he's got a point to prove. Maybe the Gordon talk got to him. Maybe he's fighting for a new contract. Maybe the Barca move, he still wants to prove that, to Barca that he wants to play the next year. We don't know. We don't really know, but you look at Barca this season, Lewandowski's got a breath of fresh air again. Yamal is doing Yamal. And then you got Rafinha who's chipping in with goals and assists. So, Diaz, there's so many options for him. And not that I'm saying that I want him to leave. But if he carries this season, it could be a special one for him. Dare I say it, similar to Suarez, if he carries these numbers on going into game 38.
Sarib?
5 and 5. 5 and 5. If he carries this on, he's on a 30-goal season.
Judging by Sarib's facial expressions,
30-goal season.
He's
calm down, man.
No, why? That should be the bar. That should be the bar. We wanted him to have a breakout season. This has to be it. He needs to get between 20 to 25 for me. He's already on 5. He's got loads more games. If he stays fit, I think he has to hit that target.
How many goals do you think he can get this season?
I've said my target for him was 20.
Let me just bring some perspective.
No, he's asked you a question. Answer that, and then you can go with your perspective.
What do you mean? The question was to you, not to me.
No, he asked that to everyone.
The question to me.
Okay, you can answer it.
How many goals I think Luis Diaz is going to get this season? 17 in all, 17, 18 in all comps, probably around 20. That Avi says that I think all comps he's going to get 20 goals because let me give you my reasoning why. Let me give you my reasoning why. Avi just alluded to the
Hey,
point.
guys, 1 minute, yeah. Guys, sorry, I don't want to interrupt you. Guys, in the comments, yeah. Let's be respectful to one another, yeah. I'm seeing f off this, piss off that, your mum this, your mum that. Let's be a bit mature about it in the comments, yeah. Banter one another, that's fine, but really just calm down with the language, please. Thank you. Go on, Sarib, sorry. It wasn't us. It's between the comments. They argue between themselves.
I think I'm just going to bring some perspective because even Avi alluded to this point, Asim and Jean, that he said Diaz goes on these spurs where he scores a lot of goals and he goes on runs. Now, to say it would be very naive to say that within 6 games this has disappeared from his game. It's not that. That's what I'm trying to allude to, is that it's very, very early. He's made a very, very good start, but let's not hit the heights at the moment. And I understand some of us wanted Diaz sold, including myself. I thought he would be the one out the door. I think Asim and Jean were in agreement with that as well. They expected Luis Diaz to leave. I think you were the only one, Avi, that stood on your laurels with Diaz.
No, but even I said, if the season that Gordon had last season, if that's a deal that 60 million euros or pounds for Diaz is a lot of money. Of course, I would have probably said yeah as well in the summer. So I'm not going to say yeah like this and that. You guys know my thoughts on Diaz, but if that money was offered to us in the summer and there was definitely a guarantee that we get Gordon, then I think everyone was up for that.
My issue now is that there's no issue personally, but he's doing really, really well. It's five goals in 5 games. But again, the perspective is it's only 5 games. And that's where we should all not overhype him, because we're all going to say Luis Diaz is amazing. He's scoring all these goals and we're all happy and la-di-da-di-da, whatever. But let this happen for a bit longer, because again, it is start of the season. It is only 5 games and he's done really, really well. But I'm always somebody that gives players time. I gave time to Nunez, Gakpo. I'm always consistent, and let's see what he does under Arnie Slot. And if he proves me wrong and goes and scores 30 goals in the season, absolutely fine. I will come on this show and apologize, because that's what we wanted from him. Gene alluded to it, Asim alluded to it, we all alluded to it. We all want Diaz to be scoring goals, because everyone naturally, even though he's not that level of player, will compare him to the Sadio Mane off the left wing who we had for 5-6 years. So he's always going to be compared to that that player, even though we know that Mane was there and Diaz is not to the level of Sadio Mane. But naturally, we are going to do that because that was the player that we bought to replace him. So we're going to expect him to deliver at least something like that. And now he's doing it. Let him carry on doing it. I just want to see how this goes on. And if he carries on doing it, absolutely fine.
Yeah, we've touched on the first goal already, Gene. It was a brilliant goal. And the control, and he the way he touched it down on it. Was it his thigh that he brought it down on? And he just killed the ball. It was unbelievable. But Liverpool are still scoring a lot of goals in transition. Where do you sit in this sort of discussion, Gene? A lot of fans are saying Liverpool cannot really implement Slot's ideas at the moment because they're not good enough in build-up, playing through the press. Bournemouth was a complete different challenge to Nottingham Forest, as you know. Nottingham Forest that deep in a low block. Bournemouth were very, very aggressive in their press, and it was all about Liverpool finding the spare man, whether it was McAllister, whether it was Szoboszlai between the lines. Where do you sit in this discussion? Are Liverpool just learning the process, or do they just sometimes go in default into a Klopp mode and start hitting it long because they've got the likes of Salah and Szoboszlai and especially Trent from deep areas?
Look, Asim, if you've got something like that in your toolbox of playing the ball long, especially when you've got the likes of Trent and Van Dijk, who are good enough to ping, who can switch play in an instant, that is something that you have to use at time to time. Otherwise, the opposition are going to know if this team, there's a certain way that they play. It's always the same sort of patterns. They're slow in build up, and they will always want to build up from the back. Yes, we're probably not nowhere near to where probably the level what Slot wants us to be, but it's going to take the team some sort of time. We've only played 5 league games, 1 game in the Champions League, but it seems like there are instances and patterns that you see and you think, you know what, this has definitely been worked on. And there are going to be instances where we go back to the default in terms of if we have to go long, we will go long. But that's, Slot will use what he has in his toolbox for him to make his side a better team. And if he's got that, why not? We saw that obviously, and this isn't the first time we've seen Konate go long. Konate was involved in all 3 goals this against Bournemouth. So fair play to him. Look, you got to give him a lot of credit. I'm really, really Sorry. Sorry, guys. Yeah, I just seen Danny's comment come up. I left my wallet in his house yesterday.
We were
I
watching
left
the
my
box at Danny's house, and he left his wallet there. So Danny's asking the question, which card shall I use for the super chat? Well,
They'll probably bounce. They'll probably bounce. They'll probably bounce.
I've cancelled them. You
send
can
it to
freeze them
selection,
nowadays.
Ali. Send it to selection.
But on a serious note, look, it was look, I'm just happy the way we're playing. It was only one. We've the first 5 games. We're beginning to see slots. You know, you're beginning to see earmarks of a slot sort of side. We've seen patterns of play in terms of our forward play, where I think, you know what, there's major improvements. We're seeing defensively improvements. The midfield has been unbelievable, and especially this game against Bournemouth, I thought both Gravenberch and McAllister were fantastic. So look, we have to wait and see what happens. But right now, I'm happy with the way they're performing, and I think another 10-15 games under Slot, we will really begin to see the real Slot hand all over this team.
Just don't say anything, boys.
You know what?
Yeah, you say that, and then he's not going to say something.
You want it to be a host.
I'm suffering. I'm still full of cold, so I have to keep it going on mute. If I stop my camera for a bit, I have to blow my nose. I don't want to be giving people listening to me sniffling all the time or blowing my nose. But anyway, Sarib, Bachin's right, isn't he? If you've got those tools, you'd be stupid not to use them, especially against a Bournemouth side, an Areola side that was really, really aggressive. I don't know if you watched the match of the day. Danny Murphy had a bit of a piece on it. The world's gone mad if I'm listening to Danny Murphy on tactics, but he did the piece, and we'll talk about it. It was all about them hunting in packs, but Liverpool found the spare man. If you're going to go man-to-man against Liverpool, and he said Bournemouth went man-to-man, they didn't go man-to-man because they left 2 on Nunez. So Liverpool had a spare man, whether it's McAllister or Szoboszlai. So Liverpool were calm. But when they were aggressive and Szoboszlai or McAllister dropped when it was 6v6 in the first half of the field, then Liverpool went long because you've got the likes of Nunez, Salah, and if it was 3v3 situations, 4v4 situations, Liverpool are unbelievable in those situations, Sarib. And Liverpool took advantage. If you're going to be aggressive, then you have to make sure you have the individual quality. And Liverpool, in most cases, and in most days, are a lot better than you when it comes to individual battles.
Absolutely, and I think on the show I've done with Gina and Jake, I think I did allude to the point that I think Bournemouth will come out at us. They will hunt in packs. They will press us very, very high because Iraola's philosophy is this, and he doesn't change no matter whose opposition is. And maybe that is a bit naive of him, but I also respect it because that's the way he wants to play, and he wants his identity on the team. And he's not afraid to do that. And obviously Liverpool have more quality than Bournemouth, and obviously that was portrayed in the game itself. And again, they were pressing. We had the long ball in Konate. The out ball was always there because we also had the spare man in midfield, whether that was Szoboszlai, whether that was McAllister, whether that was Gravenberch, whoever was in possession. That we always had an extra body because, like you said, they went 2 on Nunez. Because he's that kind of profile. No defender wants to come up against Asim. Like we always criticize Darwin Nunez in terms of his finishing, but that kind of profile, big, strong, quick, no defender wants to play against that, and that's where I'd give him some credit. But Bournemouth came with a plan. They came with an identity, and I will say they had a very good start to the game. A goal that was just marginally ruled out for offside. They had a few chances. They hit the post. They came to Anfield, Asim, and had 10 odd corners with a. And I always look after the game, Asim, because I watched the game back afterwards. I watched the whole game back. I didn't watch it live, so I already knew the scoreline when I watched the game back. But I've got it up here. Bournemouth's XG at Anfield was. I had it up.
1.8.
Okay, and Liverpool's XG at Anfield was 2. Mine says 2.18. Now, what that shows, mine says 1.244. But what that shows me is that Bournemouth should have scored in that game. The chances they created were decent goal scoring opportunities, and the quality of Liverpool's attack is what eventually got them through. Now, I'm not saying we didn't have control of the game, but there was time. I don't want to be negative, Asim, but there was times in the game, Asim, where I was concerned, and maybe that's because of Bournemouth's style of play. Maybe they are a team that's going to come Anfield and go at Liverpool. So I'm in a position now, Asim.
Sorry to interject, but are you concerned that Bournemouth came to Anfield, had 19 shots, and 6 of them were on target?
Yeah, because I look at it like this, Asim. If that was a City or an Arsenal and they play like that, those shots might go in. I think we looked quite open at times, but maybe that is because of the opposition we are playing, and maybe that's why we allow the idea to express ourselves in terms of Gravenberch and McAllister. But I feel like that 3-0 win was really, really good, and it was a solid performance from Liverpool, because I think our attack is one of the best in the league as a collective, and they will get us through games. And yesterday it was Diaz, another day it will be Mo Salah, another day will be Nunez, Jota, whoever it is. But we did look slightly open, and that was a bit of a concern to me. Now, it may not be.
Can I come interject in this? Because Brentford had quite a few chances in the first 15 minutes against City last week. They should have scored 2 or 3. I know they went 1-0 up. They could have scored 2 or 3. I think there needs to be a bit of perspective here. A, is Slot still trying to come in terms to where he wants his Liverpool team. B, we were travelling from Milan. Goalkeeper change as well, right? Alisson was out with Kelleher to come in.
Who you said
then we had Nunez.
You said Kelleher's better in build-up than Alisson. That was your words.
But we're not talking about the build-up here. We're talking about a new keeper who's coming. He's not going to be a fresh goalkeeper. He's going to be a little bit rusty when he came in, but he didn't show any signs of that. So he came in yesterday. There are a few variables that kind of like, I get what you mean, but Bournemouth are a progressive team. They're going to have their fair share of chances. To be honest, they should have gone 1-0 up. Semenyo should have timed his run much better, granted. But apart from that, some saves that Kelleher made, you expect him to make those saves. I'm not being bad. They didn't have really clear-cut chances where, they should have scored from that or they should have scored that. Even Nielsen had maybe a chance, on another day, maybe that could have gone in. But his early form has been, it hasn't been great, but he's still acclimatizing to the Premier League. But I think there has to be a bit of perspective here. Bournemouth are always going to try to play on the deck. They've got nitty, picky players like Kluivert, like Tavernier, like Semenyo, like Lewis Cook in the middle, who just likes to play short passes. They're always going to give us a bit of trouble. Even Nilsson's played against us when he was at Porto alongside with Diaz at Anfield. They had a few, gave us a few problems that night too. So they've got players who can trouble us. But I thought we were very, very comfortable. So
that's why I said.
I just want to say this. Comment, yeah. LFC, it was already 3 when Bournemouth started getting into the game. Look, they had a decent first 5 minutes where they should have, where they had one chance and one goal that was offside. After that, we absolutely battered them for 40 minutes of the game and scored 3 goals. We should have scored a lot more. Salah on a better day in the first half should have had at least 2. So I'm a bit here, man. We're concerned. I'm not concerned one bit at all. We scored 3 goals. Let me finish. We scored 3 goals in the first half. We should have scored 5 in the game. Where the amount of chances we missed, I think we should have scored more. Yes, maybe they're an expansive side. They had one chance in the first couple of minutes, which was a goal offside. Fair play, man. But concerned? No, man. We played 5 games, had 4 clean sheets, conceded 1 goal, and we're still crying, man. Chill out, man. Relax. We've won. Relax, man. All I'm saying is
if a team comes to Anfield and has 32 touches in the box and we only have 1 more touch in the opposition box, and that's a concern for me, Gene. That's always going to be
the quality of the touches. Again, it's same with the XG. It's same when we were talking about Sabostha last week about XG, about his chance creation, the quality of those chance creations. It's the quality of those final touches in third box.
Getting into the box.
Final third. No. Look at City today. For the best part of the game against Arsenal, the last final phase, they had about 1,000 touches, but they couldn't get anywhere nearer to the goal. They didn't trouble. Raya wasn't actually troubled until the end, until the last kick of the game.
Well, Sarib, I need to check this. I need to verify this. If this is correct, then why should we be concerned? Because if Liverpool are top in XG, goals scored and goals against, we talk about Arsenal's control, the lack of shots that you get away with Arsenal. If Liverpool are first in XG against, then surely we're doing something right, no?
Absolutely.
Asim, look, that 1 second. I get Sarib's point. I get.
Hold on. Because when China goes on one, he gets aggressive. I agree with Sarib. If it continues with his slot philosophy, if it continues after January, because by then you'd assume that Slot's settled in and he's got his team. He's put his blueprint on this team. If it continues, then yeah, it is a worry, Sarib. So I do agree with you then. But right now, where we are right now in game 5, it doesn't worry me at all.
I think
to be fair,
go on, Chin.
In terms of the XG, Asim, that you've just put up, look, that we're first in terms of that. But I'm going to be honest. I've watched Arsenal's games this season, and to be fair to Arsenal, 2 of the games, it probably has a 2 of the games they were down to 10 men. Right, yeah. And they've played teams number 1, and number 2, they've and number 2, they've played against a lot harder teams than Liverpool have as well. Yeah. So to be fair to Arsenal and give him a bit of credit now,
Yeah.
they probably would be around, and I think they're probably second. They might be even second on that list. If they are, then it's probably a reason why we are number one in both categories because of the games we played.
Fair enough. Yeah.
There's a point that someone makes saying, Sarib, you weren't concerned before we played Forest, but I think that's not true, because I've come on this show many times, and you three have been in attendance where I said the preparation for this season is too short, it's too wrong, it's going to take time. And I've always sat on this fence, which is why I've always said, Asim, I don't think Liverpool being a title race this season because of our preparation and new manager. Too many things are different, and some have disagreed, some have agreed, but I've always said, so my concern has always been there because I could see performances like this happening. And funnily enough, it was the Forest game. I didn't expect that to be the game. I thought it would come later down in the season because again, like you said, statistically, our start was quite simple in terms of the teams we played. We should be pulling them apart, and we have done. But I've always said there is always going to be some concern for me because we're going into an unknown era that we don't know what to expect. And this team's a lot different to what it was last season in terms of style of play, formations, the way we structured the teams. A lot of things are different, and that's so. Let me just allude to that point. That's what I was going to make. But
well, Sarib, should we expect? Because I get what you're saying. We should be concerned. A team comes to Anfield, has 12 shots from inside the box.
Yeah,
but we should also provide and flip the coin and say, look, Bournemouth are such an aggressive team. They commit so many numbers when we've got the ball in deep areas. They jump on the keeper, they jump on the centre backs, and they get really, really tight. But they came to Anfield, and the fact of the matter is that they just got simply picked off.
Of course, and that's because we have better players than them. It's very, very simple. The reason why we were able to beat them so comfortably in the end, and the amount of goals that we scored in that game, was because simply our players are better than theirs, and that's all I'm going to say to you. The way Bournemouth play football, I'm very, very impressed with them. And whoever they play, because I keep a close eye on Bournemouth because I really like their manager, the way his philosophy. I'm really, really interested in the way Iraola sets up his team, and he plays very progressive. He doesn't change no matter whose opposition is. He really goes for teams. And go on.
But would you say, when you come to teams to grounds like Anfield, that you just have to sort of curtail that a bit, and just because there's a fine line being brave and naive, isn't there?
Absolutely, and maybe that's his inexperience at the top level as well, where he needs to find the balance of when to sit back and when to attack. But retrospective of that, he is a good coach, and I believe he will be going on to good things. But maybe he needs to, again, he's a very young manager, and very in the early days of his career, as is on his slot at the top level as well in terms of Premier League wise. But Iraola I believe he's going to go and achieve great things. From what I've seen, the way Bournemouth play football, I'm very, very impressed with them. Very, very impressed. And maybe he needs to find the balance of when to sit and when to go. But I'm sure that will come with time. I'm sure that will come with it. It happened with Klopp, Asim. Klopp's style of play changed at Liverpool. He went from high press, high energy, outscoring the team, to much more controlled, much more progressive. Then he went back to this outscoring the team and basketball game, like he said in his last season. So it changes. It changes depending on personnel as well, Asim. I'm pretty sure if Bournemouth had better players, they'd be able to play the way he wants to play to an optimum level, like we did when we had prime Virgil van Dijk, Avi and Jean. We were able to play this way because we had the personnel to play like that. And that's why we looked like we weren't going to concede a goal, because we had the players that are at the top level. And Bournemouth are never going to have those players, and that's just the reality of it. We're only going to see the best of him if he goes to another team and he plays the way he's playing. And Vincent Kompany is a great example. His Bayern team are absolutely flying. His philosophy is suited for players that are better, and some managers are like that, Asim.
Yeah, 100%. Jean, I want to come to the second goal. I thought it was another really well-crafted goal. It wasn't, a Route 1 type of football that we saw with the first goal, but I thought that touch was brilliant. The way Salah came deep and he connected with Trent, and I think Slot was talking about it, where he ran onto the ball, he cut inside, and then sort of invaded the space where we've seen Conor Bradley come from those inside right channels. We've seen Trent and do the same as well. But we saw a similar situation where Szoboszlai, even though he was more central, he had a similar situation where he's running onto defence, but he came onto his left foot, and I'm sure he came with his left foot. I might be wrong, but whether it was right foot, left foot, he showed composure at that moment. Gave it to Diaz, who made it 2-0. But the role of Trent, I thought, was really good. 100 goal involvements now for the right back, and I'm sure we'll talk about him later on in the show. But just his involvement in the goal first.
Fuck's sake.
It was a proper worked goal in terms of Konate's pass to Salah, his layoff, and he got to the ball just before the midfielder did, and then that run. And look, 9 times out of 10, Trent generally makes the right the right pass, and he made a brilliant pass to Diaz, who made it 2-0. But look, you mentioned the likes of Szoboszlai, and I think the Gravenberch was in one of them positions as well, where they were just outside the box, and I'm there asking Szoboszlai, pull the flipping trigger, pull the trigger. And they always seem to try to make that extra ball. I can understand Trent because he's got the quality to always play that player pass. But when you've got the likes of Szoboszlai in that position, just flipping pull the trigger, man. How many times are you going to get in that position, try and make a pass? Gravenberch, there was an instance when Gravenberch got into that position as well. I'm like, pull the trigger, and he didn't either. So that's a bit of a thingy. But Trent, Asim, again, it was a really, really good performance from Trent. I thought he played really, really well. And in terms of Salah's like intricate play yesterday, I thought it was good. He did really well in the third goal as well, which we're going to come on and speak to. But Salah, Asim, just in the final third, hasn't cut it in the last couple of games against Brentford and Forest. But his overall play wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
It was just that flipping, when it matters in the final third, maybe the wrong decision, took an extra touch. And it just didn't happen for him in terms of putting the ball in the back of the net. But Trent, look, in terms of his performance, I thought it was really good. And that passage of play was brilliant.
Avi?
I thought Szoboszlai's run yesterday for the second goal was pivotal because it pulled Julian Rowe, who's coming from Barca. It brought him in and it gave Diaz, which we've seen this season already, plenty of space to really compose yourself and go with the hit. And it was a good finish. Trent, that thunderous, robust run. Love it. Very few times have we seen Trent sort of run like that centrally as well, with pace and a bit of power. Picks out a great pass. Szoboszlai jumps over, great, get the defender away, and Diaz scores. We've scored some good worked goals so far this season. Every goal we scored, from Ipswich to Milan midweek, to the United game, to Brentford, very good goals. The quality of goals have been superb. There haven't been deflections, there haven't been tap-ins. They've been really good worked out goals. So, yeah, no, very happy with that second goal. And I thought Konate deserves praise for his passing. We'll come into it, but I thought his passing has come leaps and bounds. He's just not passing for the sake of passing. He's not hoofing for the sake of hoofing. He's actually picking players out. Very Van Dijk-esque.
Yeah, let's stick with Ibu Sarib, because when we're compact and we need that solidity in midfield and in the build-up, he's very, very compact, close to Van Dijk. When we're a bit more expansive, we need to go down to the sides. There is no problem with telling Ibu to go and hug that touchline in right-back positions that allows Trent to come in midfield, Trent to do the overlap, do the underlap as well, because it's probably I call him the best channel defender in the world. And I don't know if that was taken out of context, but I think there is nobody better who does that job. I think you mentioned Rudiger, who does it on the other side. But I think Konate, bias to a side, I think Konate is a better defender. And the way he protects Trent, I don't think any defender in the world does a better job than Ibu.
I mean, that's fair, and that's your opinion, and I respect it. But
do you agree with it?
I still think
nothing wrong with disagreement.
I still think it's Rudiger. I know it might be from the other side. I still think it's Antonio Rudiger. Whether it's from the left or the right, as a channel defender, I think Rudiger is, as an athlete as well, is far superior. But that's again experience. He's been on the top level for how long?
But do you
he's gone with Militao and Tchouaméni.
No, he hasn't.
Madrid. Yes, he has.
No, he hasn't.
Ancelotti's gone with Tchouaméni and Militao. Since Militao's been back this season, he's gone with those two.
Who played in the Champions League in the week?
I think Rudiger's defending in the channel defending. I think Rudiger's channel defending is when he did it against with I think it was Tuchel and other managers. It's generally been under like a 3-4-3 system or a 3-5-2 system where you've got the wing back there as well. I think that's easier to do, and you've got obviously in a settled shape where you've got 5 defenders rather than 4 defenders. I think Uibu, in terms of sitting on the halfway line with so much space in behind, I don't think Rudiger does that job that Ibu does in terms of recovery pace and 1v1 quality. I can't see it. Do you see Rudiger have the games against Vinicius Junior like Ibu has had? I don't think so. Rudiger is a good channel defender when he's got a target man around him. Not in 1v1 situations. I don't think he's that kind of defender.
But to be fair to him, when Rudiger was at Chelsea, a lot of the times Mo Salah did struggle against Antonio Rudiger. From what
Yeah, you're talking about 3-4 years ago now.
Yeah, but who am I going to?
We're talking about
That's
the
when
now.
but that's when he was playing on the right hand side. No, he's defending on the right. Mo Salah's on the right. He's defending that side.
When Rudiger used to play, they used to play the wing backs.
Yeah. I know.
He used Trent and Robertson really high up. Sorry.
If you're saying
didn't Chelsea play 3 centre backs then?
That's what I mean. When
Yeah,
Salah
It's not easier then, isn't it?
when Salah is going to do inside positions and making it 3v3, so we can pin their wing backs into defenders and make it into a flat 5 rather than a 3. Rudiger is still in a third centre back role, not in wide positions.
That's why I'm going to agree with you, because I think what Ibu does in terms of his role when there's only Van Dijk and him, I think he does that really, really well. Because again, you mentioned it earlier as well, a couple of days ago, the structure, how we set up Asim and what Konate does allows us to set up like that. Like, I don't think we can set up like that if we don't have an athlete like Ibu Konate to be able to cover that space. But then in hindsight, maybe that's why he gets injured a bit too much, because he has to do that covering role. So it's like, where do you stand with this? Do you want to bring an extra body into that, whether that's Joey Gomez, Jarrell Kwanzaa, or do you want to carry letting Ibu do this? But I do completely understand what you're saying. The role that he does, the role that Ibu Konate does for Liverpool, I don't see any player in Europe doing that role as well as him. Maybe because I haven't seen it, or maybe in the league that I thoroughly watch, was the Premier and Serie A, I don't see any player cover that kind of space. And maybe that's because, as in the personnel we have as well, whereas Trent, I don't see, Trent is a special player. I think everything, the system, I think, is completely based around him. Everything, all these tweaks that we make are based to get the best out of Trent Alexander-Arnold. Now, when Trent inverts, somebody has to cover that space. Who else is going to do that if it's not Ibu Konate? It's not going to be Virgil van Dijk. It's not going to be Jarrell Kwanzaa. It's not going to be Joe Gomez at 28 years old. And I don't see any team in Europe with a player like Trent that plays that role to the level of Trent. So again, Ibu Konate might be the anomaly, that maybe the only person that does that role, Gene.
Saying that, but Cucurella against West Ham, he still was in the middle. He was inverting a lot yesterday.
He was inverting a lot. I saw bits of things, and Cucurella was inverting a lot. But the thing is, Konate, Trent's always bombed forward from right back, right? Even when he was even before that. But the difference then was he had 3 workhorsemen in the middle of the park, so he was allowed, and people would cover. Why I rate Ibu Konate more now is because we don't have them workhorse one like midfield. We've got McAllister, Gravenberch, who are probably a lot more technical, a lot more forward thinking type of players, rather than the robust all action type midfielders. So fair play to Ibu. Look, I think he's a fantastic defender. My biggest issue and gripe with him has always been staying fit. If we can stay fit, we've got arguably one of the best centre backs.
There are no arguments. If he stays fit this season, he's second behind Van Dijk. That's how good he is. That's how great he can be. He is the best defender
there's no
out
doubt
there.
about how good he is.
Here's a question for you. In our setup, would you have Saliba and Gabriel, or would you have Konate and Van Dijk? And you can flip the question as well if you want.
Look, there's always going to be a bit bias. And in terms of setup, I go with Van Dijk and Konate, because I think when we play a high line, their recovery pace, we saw evidence of it today, the lack of recovery pace or the anticipation from Gabriel and Saliba. When it comes to playing a high line, I don't think there's anyone better than that pairing in the world, Van Dijk and Konate. Although Militao and Rudiger in the middle, that's some doing as well, because they're both quick. But they don't play with a high line. Ancelotti doesn't really play with a high line, even though they can probably afford to, but they don't. That's for me.
Ancelotti.
Look, I would not change Van Dijk and Konate for anybody in world football if them 2 players are fit. I think them 2, if they were in the Arsenal team right now, do that job perfectly well. What Saliba, if not better, especially with the cover, the protection that the likes of Timber and Calafiori that played today, the Rice and Partey in the middle of midfield, the 2 holders, they would do that job with their eyes closed. I don't think that Saliba and Gabriel will walk into this Liverpool side and give us what Konate and Van Dijk give you. I just don't think they've got it in them in terms of the way they play the game, the way the high line, the way our expansive fullbacks go forward. And another thing, our midfielders are not defensive sort type of midfielders. They're more progressive. They want to progress the ball. They're more technical than than Partey and Rice. So that's just
It
the way I see it.
doesn't get spoken about,
You-
Asim, but Arsenal, that back to Gabriel and Saliba, and look, believe you me,
They were
they're
brilliant today, by
absolutely
the way.
brilliant.
Before you say
Saliba,
anything.
fully up, I agree. Like he's top notch, but they have so much protection. Ben White is a centre back before he's a right back. Yeah, you got Partey and Rice, and then you got Calafiori now who's coming. You ain't gonna get better protection than that.
Sarib, are you going to take the bait?
No, I'm not going to take the bait.
No, we know Sarib's thoughts. Look, if Sarib prefers, he's been calling it for quite a while from last season. He likes the pairing of Gabriel and Saliba. And fair play to Sarib, they probably played maybe a little bit more consistently over the course of the last year than Van Dijk and Konate has. It's not bite-sized what he's trying to say. He's trying to say...
Me and Sarib had a back and forth on Twitter. The point I was trying to make, Sarib, is I said, when you consider, because you have to provide context with everything, I'm sure you'd agree with that as well. When you talk about Van Dijk and you talk about Konate, I don't think nobody does a better job than them in the Liverpool setup, is because the way we play, when Trent goes into top of the box positions, he comes into midfield and inverts and floats around in midfield, he provides that protection. We've seen so many times him covering space. Then his 1v1 duels in wide areas is unbelievable. Whether he makes up sliding tackles or he wins duels in the air as well. And then you've got the distribution of Van Dijk, where I don't think is matched. And what you've got is Van Dijk in the air as well, his duels. I don't think Saliba is good enough in the air. And that's not me talking, that's his stats talking. His duel rate is around about 76%. For one of the best defenders in the world, I don't think that's good enough. But then you have to consider the way Arsenal set up. Liverpool, Gene is 100% right. The way we play with our fullbacks, and although it's a bit different to the way Klopp used to use them, they're still very progressive. They're still very attacking. And you saw today, you had Timber inverting a bit into midfield from the right, but because they were under the touch, especially for the first 20, 30 minutes until they came back into the game, that is effectively a double pivot, and not a Liverpool type of double pivot, where it's a progressive technical footballers. You've got Partey and Rice, where although they're decent on the football, the general output is off the ball. I know Partey is a lot more progressive than Declan Rice, but you don't have Jorginho, who's a lot better on the ball compared to them, but he doesn't roll his sleeves up as well as them two do. But then you got Calafiori, who's effectively a centre back for me, and you saw that in wide areas. For me, Calafiori struggled to cope with Savinho. That's not his fault. That's just him. He's a more of a progressive left-sided centre back for me. But I don't think, when you consider all these things, I think individually, in terms of their traits, I think Van Dijk and Ibu are the best partnership in the world, is because their job and their roles is a lot harder to execute compared to Arsenal. And no doubt, where you go grab a Sheffield United or Blackburn or anyone else, this is elite players and elite coaching in the Arsenal side. Today I said the defensive display was as good as what I saw, Jose Mourinho's side do, in the Camp Nou all those years ago. But in terms of the structure, and Arsenal are the best team off the ball. As a collective, they're the best team in the world off the ball. But as an individual, Saliba and Gabriel, in terms of personal traits and characteristics, I don't think they're better than Van Dijk and Ibu.
And that's fine. And generally, I think that's easier to say as well, Asim, because they have that protection in front of them. I think that assessment, can you only make that if Liverpool had a Rice or a Partey sitting in front of them? Because if you look at the time where Van Dijk and Ibu have been a partnership, we haven't really had the best of a Fabinho in there. I think Ibu was touch and go in 21-22, then the 22-23 Fabinho was struggling to get into the team, and he was on the back end of his career. So maybe we haven't seen how it would look if Van Dijk and...
I think we've seen how it looks now. Similarities, sorry to come in. Gravenberch, it was very similar. It was very similar to kind of Rice stylistically, and we've seen the protection that he gives the back to. Maybe not the third because he's got McAllister there. I mean, when you conceded one goal in 5 games as well. So we have kind of seen it. We're seeing it now. Before, I get it. Fabinho was on the wane. We've not seen it as much previously, but we're seeing it now, in my opinion.
In hindsight, what system are you talking? Because Asim is saying that Van Dijk and Konate are the best centre back partnership in the world based on the way we play. But is this under Klopp? Is this under Arne Slot? What are we talking about?
The present. It's got to be about the present, isn't it?
Yeah. I think it's the present.
So you're not talking about what happened under Jurgen Klopp, because
even Jurgen Klopp, I know it was wrong and we weren't playing well enough. Arsenal off the ball structure was a lot better than us, but we just take more risks on the ball, and that's not. I'm not putting that obviously on the managers. That's not Saliba's and Gabriel's mistake, but the fact of the matter is, if someone's getting extra protection as someone who's sitting in front of them or the collective structure, it's a lot easier to play in defense in that environment compared to two defenders who are sitting on the halfway line, gung-ho all the time. Very rarely their fullbacks are playing. Only this season, Robertson is playing a lot more conservatively, so I can get that point. But Trent is going all the time. Robertson does go. I put a picture up today on Twitter. Liverpool were playing in the second half many times when they pin opposition in the 2-2-6. Very, very rarely Arsenal go in the 2-2-6 and try to overload with 6 attackers. He can think he can get enough second balls from Havertz and go with 5 attackers. And now that's okay. I'm not, saying, that's not one way of not to win the league, and they shouldn't be playing it. But when you talk about the roles and the difficulty level of that role and Arsenal's role, it's different levels.
Anyway, I think what I've got out from what you're saying is that individually, Konate and Van Dijk are a better partnership than Gabriel and Saliba, but as a collective, Arsenal are better because their structure are much more impressive.
Yes.
Okay, yes. I understand that. What I believe, I think William Saliba is one of the best centre backs in the world, and I think he can get to a level that we all are afraid of. And he's.
I do too, by the way. I do too.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think we're all in agreement. I think my mum could see that he's a good centre back. You can see he's good at football. You can see it. Gabriel, I'm a bit unsure because I think sometimes he has these moments where he can give the ball away. He's a bit sluggish. In the air, phenomenal. Best aerially, I think he's the best in the league in terms of like the amount of goals he scores. I'm just talking in an attacking position. Maybe his defensive stats might not be as good, but from what I see, the amount of corners he scored, I think he's got 15 goals since he's been at Arsenal, and I think that's ridiculous. And since the start of last season, they've scored 13 of corners, and he's been involved in most of those as well. I think I would have Van Dijk and Saliba because I've seen Saliba's recovery pace. Asim, he's an athlete. He's really, really quick. He's more like Virgil van Dijk, but I think the role that Konate does, I think he could do it. As an athlete, I think he's really, really good. I think he's really, really quick. I think he was clocked in at quite a high speed. I'm gonna try to find it for you, but he's very composed. 1v1, I think he's one of the best centre backs around. Aerially, that's where he lacks. And I think that's where Konate and Van Dijk come into play, but they are 6'4" as well. I think when you take, I don't know how tall Saliba is. He's 6'3", 6'2".
Yeah, Saliba's aerial win rate is 57%, bro.
He's really bad.
To become an elite best defender in the world, that needs to improve. And look, with respect to Saliba, I think he's an unbelievable defender.
22.
I believe he is an unbelievable defender. But
yeah, of course.
To ask him to go out wide to see if he can go on the touchline and start playing the way Konate plays, I can't see that. I can't see that. He'll do well. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he's absolute shy. He won't be able to play. But to the level that what Konate does, it's very difficult to find a player that does the Konate role like Konate, Sarib. Very difficult. There's not many players who can play like that.
Because no one plays like that. I look around Europe.
It's very difficult.
Because no one has a player like Trent. That's why we play that way at G.
For football, that's slightly evolved now. You're playing with a lot, with City. They have a Kyle Walker. Do you understand? They can't even they haven't got players that are good enough to go out wide. Maybe in an Ake, when he was playing centre back, he could actually go out wide because he's played that left back role. But to say he could do it to the level of what Konate does, no chance.
I think we can agree to disagree. I think he could do it because from what I've seen, I think he's really impressive. And generally, I rate Ibu Konate very, very highly. Is that in the air?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, that must be in the air.
That is 100%.
That
different level. That is like a different level.
I'm really surprised though about Gabriel. That surprises me. I don't know why that surprised because he.
You better not be chatting shit about these stats, by the way, because I'm going with you, mate.
That surprises me. The Gabriel thing. Because from what I see of the naked eye, he wins a lot in the air. Gabriel, he's much more aggressive than Saliba. Saliba's more like a Virgil van Dijk type of centre back.
That's why I don't believe them two could play together.
I think the way he is, Gene, he's an athlete. He's an athlete. He's big. He's strong. He's quick. That's what Ibu is. Ibu is
You're
aerially,
saying to me he's a Van Dijk type of striker, centre back, but he can do the Konate role.
but
Nah,
can play that
man.
role. But can play that role because he's a lot more. I think he's a very, very quick centre back. Like, I'll give you an example.
Move it along, man. Move it along, man.
Anyway, look, I don't want to think about. Anyway, you were saying, Asim, carry on.
I look, to end it all, I think we're blessed. I think City are blessed that we're seeing. You know, in the last few years, we've said there was no defenders like the 90s or in that Rio Vidic era. I think now we're seeing an era where you got Van Dijk, Saliba. I mean, France are blessed with defenders. You got Ibu, you got Saliba, you got Gabriel, you got City's defenders Diaz. No matter what you say, he's still a top defender. Stones. We've got an era of good defenders who possibly are going to go on to become great defenders. I think right now there's only one great defender in that bunch of 6, 7, 8, and I think that's Van Dijk. But you see, even United with Euro, the potential that he has, I think we're going to see like a whole sort of scale of defenders that we'll be speaking of in 5-10 years' time.
Yeah, well said, Avi, ever the diplomat on the panel. The
opposite usually.
I'll come to Cheen. Cheen, you picked the front three on Friday night. You picked
Manige.
Sabla. Cheen, Nunez connected really well. His relationship with Salah continues. Lovely cushion header. Not the cushion header, the one that thingy whacked Stevie G. But that connection with Salah out wide, again, we saw a similar theme in the first couple of goals where we isolated their back four and then we ran onto their defense. And I was in the ground and said, don't shoot. He did that. And that's why I was starting the stands and not on the football pitch. But what a strike and what a goal.
What a finish, man. I was right behind it. And to see it fly in, especially coming inside, left foot, weaker foot. This is what Darwin does. He'll scuff probably a 60-yard tap in, but he'll score a worldie for you. And look, Darwin Nunez, man, he's a bit of an enigma. Everybody knows deep down my thoughts.
Took my tweet off me. That's what he's saying now. He's an enigma. That's what I tweeted. As soon as he scored that goal, I'll go down enigma.
Wallahi, I've not
using the word now.
Wallahi, I've not read it. Wallahi, I've not read it.
Using the word now.
Wallahi, I've not read it.
You wanted him out. You wanted him out at the start of the season. You wanted him gone from this football
you
club.
want to jot it.
Don't chat it now. Don't give it large now. You can give it large to Sarib, but we're not with me. We know the truth. You didn't want him at this club.
I just said I wanted him
What's
out.
supposed to do with me?
He bullies you.
Can I answer my question?
I'm protecting you.
Sarib, you're always involved.
Avi, you know what? You know what? Listen to me, Avi. Today, you can throw whatever you want to me. I don't care. Liverpool won. City and Arsenal drop points. So I'm on cloud 9 right now, yeah? So listen, in terms of Darwin Nunez, I was saying...
Before you go, Ali, can you get me those Trent quotes, please? Because I can't find them on the phone. I can get them on the phone, but I want to put them on the screen for the guys who haven't seen them. So copy and paste the Trent quotes, and I've got
the transcripts.
I've got. But I want to put them on the screen as well. I want to put them on the screen as well.
Have we go on YouTube?
How's Ali going to do that? Ali's not a mod, is he?
Yeah, come on, he's one of our own, man. I'm sure he'll do it.
Anyway, Darwin Nunez.
Oh, yeah? You mean stars? Okay, yeah. Ali, do it, please. He's not one of your own. He's one of my own.
Look at this. Look at this comment. Look, see, this is the guy. Look, that's the comment. I was the only one, Avi, when we did the pre-match, I was the only one, and you lot were giving me pelters, yeah, and I was saying to you, no, I want Darwin Nunez to start this game.
You were just trying to be edgy. That's what you were trying to be.
See, this is the problem. You can't take it, can you? See, when I'm right, these guys can't take it.
You're the same guy that wanted him sold, though, as well.
Your Picasso mind, you can't be wrong.
Avi, let him finish. Order.
Let me... Yeah? Listen. I wanted Darwin Nunez to start. You three didn't want him on the bench. I wanted Diaz to start. You lot wanted Gakpo. Yeah? So listen, remember, I was the one who picked this front three. And this was the reason why I wanted Darwin to start. Because Darwin Nunez, it was the perfect game for him to come in. End of the day, it's Bournemouth. They're an attacking side. It was always going to work for him. And look, he scored a really, really good goal. I thought his performance was good. And he's in our side and I will always back him. Do I believe he will go to the next level in terms of get me 20? Let me finish. Do I think he's going to go on?
Do you think he meant it, Gene?
100% he meant it.
What do you think?
Are you having a laugh?
You know the touch he took to get
the cross.
Oh, come on, man. See, look, can you believe it? I'm defending Darwin Nunez on here today. And these guys, who are flipping proper Darwin Nunez fans, and are saying that was a mishit. Was it hell? It was a proper left foot curler, man.
I'm joking.
Yeah. And look, to be fair, he deserved his chance. His chance came. Meaning he deserved his chance not because he played well, but because Jota wasn't playing that well. He needed a start. He got it and he took it. And look, it bodes well for Liverpool because we've got another player now who needed a goal. And, you could tell it meant a lot to him, the way he celebrated. You could tell that, you know what? I just hope that this guy can hopefully go on to score more goals. Do I think he's good enough to take us to the league title? Probably not. But I hope I'm proven wrong. And I want him to bag. Of course, I still want Jota to be our number 9, even though I know he hasn't been played over the last couple of games. But, it bodes well. Like I said, we've got 6 forwards who, where we can choose from. And look, Salah didn't have his best game. Diaz and Nunez stepped up. And this is the thing that I wanted. When one of the forwards don't step up, the other 2 have to. That's what Salah, Mane and Firmino always did. When 2 of them didn't step up, one of them would save the day. And this is what we need, our front 3. And this is, again, a game against Forest. None of them turned up.
I think it's important to put a bit of emphasis on the build-up as well. Asim. It was quick, concisive, and it was devastating. The initial pass, Mo flicks it back to Darwin back, and he's off and away. And in that precise moment on the right-hand side, I thought he was going to cross it in. I didn't think he was going to turn. And I think that's what sort of separates him and Jota. He can get away from a defender, Nunez. He can get away and drop a shoulder and go across and get a shot off. Jota's game isn't based on that.
Jota beat his marker?
He can beat he's beating his markers when he's centrally, but off on the wing or on the left or right, not right so much, but on the left, Jota, he can't drop a shoulder and get a shot off. Whereas Darwin, he can go right or left. And more often than not, he's scoring bangers. It's the easier chances that you can't put away. If you look at his goal repertoire of 33 goals he scored, majority of them are absolute delay. They're absolute 20, 30-yard hits. But it's the easier chances that he can't get over the line. Again, it could be composure. He's probably got more time when he's letting one off from 30 yards or 25 yards. But no, I thought the build-up of that was brilliant. That's what I want to see. Very Klopp-esque style in terms of it was quick from one end to the other. What was it, like 2.3 seconds, 2.4 seconds before he let that shot off? It was brilliant in my eyes.
He's one of those players. He's been there for 3 years, Nunez. Now I can't figure out what he is. I genuinely can't figure out what he is. I can't figure him out.
He's number 9. What else? What is it to figure out? He's a bloody striker.
I can't figure this guy out. Like, how do you see 21 players
figured himself out
and decide to put in the top corner, but you're 1-0 with the keeper and your only instinct to hit the goalkeeper? Like, I still can't figure out how he processes this, but it's so weird. I believe you can't coach someone to become better at finishing. I don't believe that. I either believe you have it or you don't. I don't think somebody can know what to do in front of the goal. You either know or you don't. Generally, that's what I think. If you're a ruthless striker when you're 1-on-1, even if you score 5 goals a season, you'd see those 5 chances are clinical. You put them in the back of the net. It's not a scruffy shots. But Nunez has so many, and I think he's given us so many like we've seen him miss so many chances. That can't be, that's I don't think you can coach that. Like, I look at Gyökeres.
You can become a better striker, though. You can become a better striker with coaching. Maybe not become a natural finisher. You're not a natural, but of course you can become a better.
If you look at all the great goals,
not a natural finisher. Yes, I can accept that. Not a natural, but not you can't say he's not a thingy.
Maybe Haaland is the extreme example, but what he does, you can't coach. To know where to be, to put. He's been doing this since he was 18, 17 years old at Salzburg, Molde. He's been doing this for years and years. That stuff can't be coached. You build that when you're young.
But Sarib, what you're talking about, Gyökeres, that player for Sporting. But Darwin was doing those numbers at Benfica too.
Yeah.
Yes.
He did a 34-goal season in the Premier League.
Nunez also missed a lot of chances. That's always been a pattern in his career where he misses a load of chances. But in the league that he's in, he's obviously going to score a lot of goals because if he's getting this many chances in the Premier League, as a player, he stretches defenders. He's always a nuisance. And I said this, he's a nuisance to play against. It's only when he gets in front of the goal that's a problem. He's got everything in a striker. He's good, he's decent in the air. He's quick. He's strong. He gets in behind.
This is a great example, Lewandowski, when he was at Dortmund. But before that, it was at Dortmund. I know he was at Legia Warsaw as well in Poland, obviously. But when he came to Dortmund, his first season wasn't great. But after that, whatever Klopp said to him and the coaches, it wasn't Pep. Klopp and Pep obviously at Bayern. He went on a goal scoring record. It's probably second to Messi and third to Messi and Ronaldo. So I think you can get better with age, Sarib, because I think your decision making gets better with age. Kane at Leicester City before he went to Spurs, he was on loan spells doing nothing, and then all of a sudden something clicked, and he never looked back. 30 goals. Constantly.
Kane in the youth teams has always been a goal scoring machine. Always. He's always been like that. Players.
Kane was 18, 19 then, man. I mean, bloody hell, this guy's a 24-year-old, man. And
that's also
70 million quid.
That's what I'm saying.
You
either
have
it young or you don't. This guy is 20. Again, that's important as well. He's 24, 25. By that time, Lewandowski was bagging goals left, right, and centre. That's what I mean. From a young age, you can see whether a player is clinical in front of the goal. Look at Harry Kane. He came into the season, I think 15, 16, scored an absolute banger of a free against Villa, 14, 15, sorry, and he just went on a run from then. He got a run, and the way he finishes the ball, you can tell he's got a trademark, Harry Kane. The way he bends his back, and every player has a trademark. I don't know what Nunez' trademark finishes. I don't.
Suarez's first season under Kenny, look how many chances he missed. Second and third in the Rodgers, it clicked for him. And he was a great goal scorer at Ajax too. But that first season of 11 in 34, 35 games under that Kenny season, and the season after that, he was devastating.
I just think you have it as a striker. You don't. I don't believe you can coach someone to. You can't coach someone to know what to do in front of the goal.
You can coach composure and control. You can definitely coach those two things psychologically in front of goal. What you're going to do. That's what Darwin needs more than anything. It's to learn composure. Because last season he was snatching at chances. If he gets that composure and if he gives himself that extra split second to think about where he's going to place the ball in and around that box area of the opposition.
What a comment.
Do you guys think that he's always going to be a striker that's going to miss a load of chances?
Every striker misses chances.
To that array though.
This is my issue. I think every striker misses chances in the Premier League. You can't have a striker that misses the chances he misses if you want to win the league.
There you go. So then
Ollie Watkins misses chances. He's missed sitters already this season. Right? We saw that against Arsenal. Look, if that was Darwin Nunez, but it goes slightly unnoticed because they're probably not going for the title. They're going for the top four. They lost that game. And if he scored that easy goal, they win that game. There's fine margins, which I've always spoken about. This is the difference. You cannot miss them chances if it means winning a title. Look, Gucci goes more misses chances. Exactly. Salah misses chances. Look, he missed 2 or 3 this game. Salah always misses chances as well, but he will always bag. He will always impact. This is the biggest issue that I had with Darwin. Look, I don't want to make this show about Darwin, especially when the lads just scored an absolute belter of a goal, has put in a decent performance. I'm happy with what he's done. I just hope, if whenever he gets the start, he comes on and makes a difference. It does look a slightly different Darwin Nunez. Look, but one thing I will say, if he's got the output from Diaz, let's hope he gets the output from Nunez, because he slightly tweaked Diaz's the way he plays. Diaz has got 5 in 5, which is unthinkable, right? And I was the one that was having a go at Slot, saying, you know what, Slot flipping, what's he going to do? You can't teach somebody how to miss sitters. You just have to put him in the back of the net. I just hope that he's done something with Darwin, quick ala jadoo, and hopefully, he begins to bounce back a few more.
I just want to come on this comment from Mo Gay Curtis. He's 26 as well, Guy Curtis, and he couldn't get no one at Brighton could get a tune out of him. He had to go on loan, or he went to Coventry. Goal scoring record wasn't great there. Last season was his breakout season at Sporting.
His Coventry season. What you on about? He's banged the goals in, man. What you on about?
He scored 22 and 50. How's that a great goal scoring record? 17 and 46. 17 and 46.
The final season,
come with the facts. 17 and 46. I've got it right in front of me. He got 21 in 46 games that season before he left for Sporting.
Yeah, 20 goals.
You're in the Championship.
So
in the Championship, you're acting as if he's scoring them in the Premier League.
But that's 3 or 4 years ago. He's got 20 goals.
He's 26
He's got 21 goals and 12 assists. This guy fails to mention 12 assists.
His breakout season.
And he goes, that's not good enough.
21 goals and 12 assists in 49 games is not good.
Oh, we're talking about the Championship. We're not talking about the Premier League. We're not talking about the Creme de la Creme. We're talking about the Championship. His breakout season,
No,
real
I'm not
breakout
saying
season
that.
at the top level, his real breakout season, this guy Corres, whatever you lot want to keep humping up, hyping up. It was last season under Ruben Amorim, a very skilled coach. So let's just hope that Darwin can carry this, the form yesterday, he can carry that forward with Slot. If Slot's been working with Diaz and we're seeing the fruitions of that work, hopefully we get to see it with Darwin as well.
My issue with Asim, I'll let you go. My issue with
No, that's okay.
Nunez is he missed 27 big chances last season. You mentioned Ollie Watkins, but Ollie Watkins scored 20 goals in the league. Nunez is not scoring 20 goals in the league if he starts every game. It's not going to happen. He played 30, 33, 32 games last season. He got how many goals in the 13 goals?
I think Nunez gets the goals.
I don't think so.
I've
He missed
Sarib, and I'm
way too
I'll
many.
tell you.
It would be okay, Gene. It'd be okay if he gets the numbers with it. That's why I think
He will
Watkins
get
doesn't notice, 'cause
Darwin would get us the numbers. I think if Darwin plays 38 games for Liverpool in a whole season, I guarantee you the guy scores 20 goals.
Hold on.
I think Darwin Nunez will get you 20 goals if he plays a full 38 games every single game. I believe now he will get you 20 goals. The issue with Darwin is when the moment comes and when it matters, he will let you down.
Gene, 23,
And he will get an easy chance, and he won't bury it.
last season, Nunez played.
And that will cost us.
Last season, Nunez played 36 games in the league and he got 11 goals.
Huh? There were subs as well up here, but most of the there were quite a lot. Look, everybody knows I don't know why I'm defending Darwin here, but my issue with Darwin is I just think when the moment comes, when it matters, and I said this all the way along, he will mess up.
But ask yourself why he's only starting 23 games, because he's simply not good enough in front of the goal. That's why he's on the bench. If he was delivering in the games that he was starting, he wouldn't be on the bench. That's the whole point. So you can make this narrative all you want.
How many assists did he get last season?
Eight assists.
Last season, only 8.
In the league, yeah. Eight assists.
No, in all competitions.
I don't know.
He got 18 last season in the league, in all competitions.
I've got his Premier League stats up here. He's got 11 goals and 8 assists in 36 games, and someone says 23 starts.
So he contributed 19 out of those. Okay. Yeah,
the thing that really gets to me here is this. Where's that comment gone?
What?
That just tells you how close he is as well, man. He's a weirdo, because even in this game here,
why are you reading this, Avi? Gene, I mentioned it last year. Is I don't think it's a coincidence, because when he was, I think I mentioned it after the away game at Newcastle, where he hit those 2 unbelievable finishes. But sometimes he looks for perfection, and when you look for perfection, bottom corner, top corner, you hit the post and you hit the crossbar far too often. Sometimes, like Everton miss. Why are you going straight at your keeper? Play your percentages. Obviously, he did that because he panicked and he hit it too early. Composure, what Avi was talking about. When a player hits the crossbar that many times over a season, that tells me you're going for perfection. You need to play the percentages. You don't need a perfect finish all the time. That's why
There's one against Fulham. He's 1-on-1. Yeah, he's running behind. He just needs to put the left or right. He hits it. He hits the ball on top of the ball and hits the crossbar. I'm thinking, just put that in the back of the net.
He's also the most unlucky striker I've ever seen.
I know. That's why I said I can't figure him out. I can't figure him out.
Honestly, I think there was one yesterday, wasn't there? I think
that's what I was just about to mention. That's it.
You know, good. Let's go around the table then. How many are we expecting Darwin to score? You've gone with 20 in the league.
It's hard to say, Avi, because
the league.
In the league.
Who's gone to who's
You said 20 in the league, Gina.
Shut the fuck.
No, he said
you're Rocco. I said if he plays 38 games, he gets you to an end.
Idiot.
Yeah.
How many do you think he gets in the league this season?
7.
15.
7.
15. Oh, 15 not league, sorry. About 12.
Wow.
I don't think
12 in the league. Sarib?
7, 8.
In the league.
Yeah. I don't think he's gonna be here next summer, personally.
I think, look, I'm not gonna try to act like I'm sitting on the fence, because it just depends how many games he gets. But if you go by Jota's record of getting injuries throughout the season, then
yeah, that's true. Good point.
I'm going with 21. I'm going with 21 league goals for Darwin Nunez.
I go between 12 and 15.
Sorry?
21.
In the Premier League?
I said Slot's biggest challenge this
Oh,
season.
Premier League.
I said Premier League. I said Premier League.
You think Nunez scored 21 goals in the Premier League this season?
Yeah, I'll back it.
And he's not even our starting number 9.
I'll back it.
Use your brain, man.
I'm going to try to.
He's not going to start 30.
I said at the beginning of before a ball was kicked, before a coaching session, if Slot can turn, if he can do the work that he did with Santiago Gimenez for Feyenoord, if he can turn Darwin Nunez, just maybe it's a tweak or two, we're going to see 20. We're going to see a 20+ goal scorer in the league from Darwin Nunez.
How many games have we
He's not that far off. So if you really deep it, he's not that far off.
How many games have we got? 32. So you're telling me he's going to score
Avi,
21 goals in 32 games?
He's not that far off. He's another one that needs a breakout season.
He's not even going to start 15 games in the league this season.
I'm here for it. Let's move it on.
TK, guys, let's go to a bit of waxing lyrical about individual performances.
Oh, Chiesa?
Chiesa, I don't think had a standout.
A little cameo.
A little cameo. I think he looked lively. He was working hard.
You guys were there. How is it watching him in person? Is he really that fast?
Look, it's hard to
Can't even try him, man. This is his first game.
Yeah, he came on. He looked lively. I think that's
there.
the best way to describe him, Sarib. He looked lively. He had a few situations where I thought, he should have backed himself a bit. Obviously, he had that sort of performance where you played in front of the home ground first time, and he was trying hard, making a nuisance of himself. Perkez was pushing him and left a mark on him, a few times. But I thought, look, he's going to be that annoying striker where he played up top. It was a bit of a surprise for me. I think it was big. Well, who was on at that time? Was it Salah, Chiesa, and who else? Gakpo, wasn't it? Yeah, so I think I don't think we should read too much into that. I think when Chiesa is going to play, I think he's gonna go on the left or right. But it makes sense for him to do 5-10 minutes here and there as well because he's intense. And when you've got Curtis Jones going back as well and McAllister in the 10, we needed that press from the front as well. But he looked lively. But I want to concentrate on the McAllister performance and the Ryan Gravenberch performance. Sarib, you can start with this. I called him Gravenberch the glider. You can call him something else if you want because he was that good.
What can we say about this man? This man is... I can't believe what he's turned into in that position. Now, we've seen him play in a pivot in the past, and we allude to this point a lot, that he's played in the pivot position before at Ajax, partially more so at Ajax, cameos at Bayern, but never on a consistent run. But he's proven a lot of this fan base wrong. Some fans will claim that they thought he was the next coming of Ruud Gullit, and he's better than Sergio Busquets, and I always had him in this position. I always saw him as a number 6, but not no one here. But I mean, what a player Gravenberch is. I think we're all in agreement that this has been the biggest surprise of the season has been Ryan Gravenberch in a number 6. No, it wasn't Gene that said that. No, it wasn't.
No, I'm talking about. I'm waiting to hear Gene's comments on him.
Are you trying to I thought you were trying to grate some salt and pepper on his head.
Flip-flop.
But Ryan Gravenberch, I have to be completely honest. Whether it's an 8, whether it's a 6, wherever he's playing, whether he's further than McAllister, whether he's sitting deeper, he is doing everything correct. But 6 games. 6 games for our number 6, Gene. Should we get excited?
Oh, every single thing that this guy says, has something there's always a flipping dampener on every single thing,
Me?
Just one guy, 3-0, Gravenberch has had 3 or 4 man of the match performances in 6 games. If any other player we signed in world football did that, Sarib would jump in for joy. But this guy will always put...
I'm consistent.
No, I'm talking now. You said your shit. Always likes to put a dampener on everything, but 6 games, but this, but that. But grow up, man. And enjoy Gravenberch. He's Liverpool's player. He's playing really well. He's putting up clinics practically every single game that he's played, And this guy will always come and say, oh, here we are. Oh, here we are. Oh, I grow up. Anyway, let me talk about Gravenberch. Because you can't give him the due that he deserves. Because if you were talking about bloody Partey right now, you'd be taking him right up to the sky and say, bro, what a performance. He did this and he did that. But no, this is our player. And let me defend my own player. This is not Arsenal player, bro. This is a Liverpool player. And leave the Liverpool players to me.
You can't say things about me.
I'm going to speak. No, I will speak the truth. What I feel about
because that's not even what I said.
Anyway, listen. Gravenberch, 6 games. Asim, yesterday was another unbelievable performance. Gravenberch and Maka, the both of them yesterday were brilliant. It's 6 games, and bar one game, even though in that game I thought Gravenberch was decent. In that game against Forest, yeah, too, you can put his comment just because one agrees with you. In that game against Forest, where everybody else was shit, Gravenberch had an okay game compared to the rest. But again, Asim, honestly, what a player, man! I have not seen a Liverpool player receive the ball like Gravenberch receives the ball and turns, man. That honestly is a clinic. The way he receives the ball and turns, mate, it is a joy to watch every single time. And you can tell that every time he gets the ball, you can even tell with the Anfield crowd, Asim, they know that he's going to do something. The way he turns, the way he glides, it's beautiful to watch. It's none of this party bullshit, sit on the 6-yard box and hoop the ball. And,
he hasn't mentioned
private, man.
He hasn't mentioned party or anyone. I don't know why you're saying party.
This guy would no, because this guy will. This is what he does. He puts a damper on everything, man. Chill
I
out.
literally haven't.
You have no. He actually he said
every other players.
Look,
this guy's
it's
better
it's still bite size. It's still bite size.
I'm saying
he had a very good start early last season. Look, I tweeted a year ago. Because there was so much hate for this kid in January actually for Gravenberch. I go, why the hate? He's 21 years old. He needs judge him in about a year's time. Let him fully have a full season. Because he's come from an institution at Bayern where it didn't work out for him. Different kinds of methodologies there with Nagelsmann, then Tuchel coming in. In Ajax, he was settled, came through their system. He's arguably joined 3 of the biggest clubs in the world already at 22. But he does need a coach who can coach him. Not coach a system, but coach individuals. Slot is that man for him. It's a perfect fit, match made in heaven right now. He needs to continue this. But arguably, player of the season. He's got that swagger about him. He's got that swagger and that drop of the shoulder a bit like Pogba did. But he's got the work ethic and he's got the mentality, it seems, right now to be so much better. Gravenberch can be whatever he wants to be. If we are speaking about the Rijkaards, the Hullits, and the Dutch midfield masters of seed off back in the day, this kid, not my words, but words that have been spoken of him in the academy at Ajax, he can be as good as those 3 that I've just mentioned. He can be in that same breath, being spoken about in that same breath, if he just keeps this application that he's going on with this early start to the season. Gravenberch can be what he wants to be, Asim. That's my 2 pence.
I learned my lesson from last season when people were calling Szoboszlai the second coming of Gerrard. He's a Hungarian Steven Gerrard after watching him run around against Chelsea and score a bang against Aston Villa. People are calling him the Hungarian Steven Gerrard. And that's why I always say we didn't expect Szoboszlai to drop off the way he did last season, regardless of the context of things. We didn't expect that. He made such a bright start to the season, and then we dropped off, and everyone was calling for his head. A lot of Liverpool fans were asking him to be dropped, including myself, because I thought his performances last season were quite very, very poor. Come the mids of the season and come February, March. That's why I always say, I'm not putting a damp on things. That's why I say just let it go on for a bit longer, because anyone can have a good 6-7 games. Anyone can have a good 10 games. But we just have to wait and see if this continues. I still think we need a number 6 in that position, and I still think he won't be a number 6 for Liverpool in the future, regardless of him playing that position. But he's doing really, really well at this moment. But I always give players time, because I don't like speaking too early I don't like speaking too early, because it can
don't speak at all then.
No, because it can come bite you in the arse. Like you said, Fabio.
Because you can always. We might as well not say anything. We might as well not say anything. We might as well not speak about anything then. You know it's too early. You give him time. Just stay quiet. Don't talk about anything, bro.
You was calling Szoboszlai.
Don't talk anything then.
Gerrard, and he turned into the Hungarian.
I didn't say Hungarian Steven Gerrard.
You shouldn't.
The Hungarian Henderson.
You know what I'm saying?
Look, the thing is, you might as well not say anything about any player then.
No, I always said give players time, especially under new coach. You give players time.
Should we not give him the credit?
In the summer,
you don't dampen thing then. Just say.
Asim, I'll tell you what it is, and Asim, I'd like to hear your thoughts. I think when a player's come into the league at 21, 20, like Szoboszlai and Gravenberch did, you cannot judge them from the off. You can't judge them from that first year. You need to give them second season, and especially in that midfield area, because we had the luxuries of Henderson, Gini Wijnaldum, Fabinho. They were set on a routine for the 3-4 years that they were at the club, 5 years, 6 years, whatever, right? So all of a sudden we have this influx of midfielders come in. McAllister doesn't get that kind of luxury because he was coming from Brighton. But again, it was a position change for him. So he needed time. But with Gravenberch and Szoboszlai, 2 of the top talents in European football, because they always needed a year. Asim?
Yeah, look, I agree. You have to take your hat off to Ryan Gravenberch. The role, everybody was obsessed, us all included. We had about 6 million shows on Martin Zubimendi over the summer. And just imagine, and just put yourself in Gravenberch's shoes. Everybody, the whole fan base is talking about this number 6 coming in, and he chose Mountains over Liverpool. And now you're basically given the button and said from Arne Slot, although he put his arm around his shoulder and he showed a lot of belief. But it doesn't matter, these guys are humans, and if you're given that responsibility to go into that midfield and boss it, then that is huge pressure. Because if you have one bad game, we might let you off. If you have two, then we'll start talking about it. And there's some huge scrutiny when it comes to playing in the number 6, such an integral part of any team, never mind Liverpool, Avi. And the way he has played it his way, he's not a volume passer. He's getting that discipline. He's got the long legs. He's got I was saying he might even end up on Strictly coming the summer, because his hips and his mobility and his body orientation and his posture is unbelievable, because all those things that I've just described, it helps him connect play vertically. And if he has to play a sideways pass, then he can do. And if you get tight with Ryan Gravenberch, he can drop a shoulder. And like I mentioned, those hips allow him to drive the ball. Someone mentioned in the BNR group yesterday that, am I watching Yaya Toure glide through the midfield of, who we bloody playing against, Bournemouth? And if you sit off, he can ping a pass, whether it's a 50-yard across to Diaz from the right-hand side. And how many times do we see McAllister come into the midfield and Trent come into midfield, and McAllister going into the number 10 position from the left-sided midfield role, and then he can shuffle across. And that's what I like about Ryan Gravenberch. A lot of players, whether it's a Declan Rice or many other central midfielders, they have angle bias, where if they open their body up to one side, they don't have that switch. With Ryan Gravenberch, he doesn't seem to have that. And if he has a little weakness, he makes it up with his ball carrying ability from deep areas. And he's got skill, he's got unbelievable balance, and long may it continue. I get Sarib's point. It's only 6 games, and I'm with sort of his opinion. I think if someone looks at someone like Martin Zubimendi or that volume type of passer comes available in January, I still think Liverpool should go for him and will go for him, because I still think his strengths are from the left-sided channel. But it's an option that we've got, and an unbelievable luxury that we've got. Someone like McAllister has come into deep positions as well, and Szoboszlai as well. The fact that we don't have a volume passer, the fact that we don't have that total control that Zubimendi would have had and bought us in the first phase of build-up, Slot has reassessed his options and said, you've got 3 technical footballers that are going to take it in turns, whether it's in a 2, whether it's in a 1. And that's what I love about Gravenberch. When we do need to go into a lone single pivot, then he's got the press resistant. He becomes the hub in that midfield. And when you become the hub in midfield, then the extra responsibility of evading the press, it comes about on your shoulders. And he can drop a shoulder anyway. And like I said, he's been a breath of fresh air in his midfield. And I've always said he seemed like a nice lad the day he walked through the Liverpool doors with his girlfriend, I think, or whatever his partner was, or his wife. I'll stick with partner, it makes sense. But he seemed like a very likable guy. And when he did them type of people or footballers do well, then, the happiness is even greater, because good people, when they get good things come to them, you're only happy for them.
Superb.
Sorry if I went wrong.
Superb thread again. No, that's why I wanted to ask you the question. Coming on to man of the match, we'll keep this short and then we'll keep it moving. We are at an hour and 30 into the show. Like Asim forgets all the time when he's hosting. Guys, make sure you like and subscribe. There's 200 of you here. Please like and subscribe. Also give our sponsors a little visit on their website, www.schnuckerlig.com. Great LFC apparel, merchandise, merch. That's the word, is it? Sarib, is that what you youngsters use, merch? We should just use it, you could call it clothes, but make sure you go on their website. If you do like some of the stuff, I'm sure you will. Please use the discount code of BNR10. That's BNR10 for 10% off. But please, guys, make sure you go and check out www.schnuckerlig.com on the ban at the bottom. Make sure you give them a mention, please. Thank you.
Shall we go to the Trent quotes, Avi, or shall we wait for Chin for that?
Man of the match. I'll keep it simple. I don't think I need to tell you guys who my man of the match is. Lucho.
Sarib, Avi's gone with Dazzling Diaz. Who do you go for?
You know, I'm gonna go with a bit of Chiesa. I'm joking. I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna go with Diaz.
Gene, your man of the match before we go on to Trent.
Gravenberch.
Oh yeah, come on, man. Diaz scored 2 goals.
I can see why Grab gets it, but I think Diaz, the way he's performed.
Surprised you didn't say Keller.
No, I said Chiesa first.
Keller was, to be fair, Keller had a good game.
Do you want to mention Asim, your man of the match?
Oh no, it's not that hard.
Oh,
It's gonna be Muhammad. It's
what?
gonna be Muhammad.
I'm going with Salah.
He had a bad game, man. He had a bad game. My Muhammad had a bad game.
I was going to go Konate.
I don't think he had a bad game. I think he was
I
good.
thought Konate
In
was
front of
brilliant.
goal, Avi, man.
I thought Konate was
More.
brilliant. I'm going to go. I think McAllister was brilliant.
He
He
was.
was.
Oh, man,
was.
fair. I can
He
see that.
was.
I thought McAllister was brilliant. That pass.
If-
That pass to
Oh,
the
Two
Salah.
passes. Two passes.
Yeah, 2 passes to Salah.
That one was
One
one
on
of
the
the
inside and Salah, tried to round the keeper.
You know what pass was? You know what his pass of the season so far has been? That fucking last week against Forest, Jota. That goes in the weight of that pass.
Yeah.
But this on
He's got that in
Saturday.
the locker. He's got that in the locker. He's done it against Newcastle at home last season as well.
Sorry?
He's got that in the locker, Maka. He done it against Newcastle last season, and he robbed Jota of an assist. And Jota decided to dive after he went down. I was like, that would have been a goal as well.
Notable mentions though, McAllister's obviously won. Ibu 100% deserves big credit. Curtis Jones had a nice cameo. Asim,
Yeah, he does.
much needed. I
Yeah.
thought he knitted the play very well. Looked much more quicker in terms of going that way. A few 1-2s with McAllister. I'd like to see him against West Ham start.
Yeah, he will.
Jones.
Jones will start against. He will start.
Yes.
Okay.
And Keller, obviously, Keller came in fantastic. He was a bit shaky on the ball, funnily enough. He was shaky with the ball,
At the start of the game, he was a little bit.
but made some 2-3 good saves. That sinister one on the second half. With that
Yeah.
left foot.
But I'd have him over Alisson in goal.
You would. You would.
I wouldn't.
Okay.
Anything's possible with you, bro.
Okay, no, keep it going.
At least
man.
for them-
No.
I don't get
Everybody
paid for
say-
these 32.
You say I was
extra minutes.
Ryan in
Come
goal.
on.
Listen,
Leader,
let's
leader,
go to
come on.
Trent. Let's go to Trent. Before we go to Trent, and I put all the quotations, by the way, big up to Mo. He's been a Mo the Mod. That's his name today. I think Satasha, I think that's her name, isn't it? Who's been coming on our calling shows very often. And she said, look, you have to caveat everything that we haven't seen this interview. We can get the transcripts, but we need to see the video as well because they can give a totally different message. But we have to put a face, go with them at face value, and it'll be interesting to get the thoughts of the lads tonight. I'm gonna just put them up all, and if you whenever they'll stay starred, if you want to refer back to one of them, just put them up again. Trent Alexander-Arnold on his future. The most important thing is I've always wanted trophies. If I'm honest, I want to win trophies. I'm a player who is highly motivated. Am I on mute?
No. Sorry, man. I'll go for this going on, man. Sorry,
Nah, cheats. You made everyone think that I said Thomas Partey is the best midfielder in the world. He just makes things up on the spot.
Hamza, Banda Ban.
So you deserve it. Hamza, tu changa bana hai.
Okay, back to it, guys. I am a player who's highly motivated by trophies and winning things. He goes on to say, I want to be a Liverpool player this season, is what I will say.
So that irks me. So Asim, just
Okay,
coming in,
okay.
that kind of irks me. And he says, I don't want to. Anything that happens will be happening behind closed doors. I'm not going to have. I've signed 4 or 5 extensions. It won't be in the public press. But I don't understand this quote. And people will say, "Oh, you're reading too much into it, Chip. Come on, get off your high horse." I want to be a Liverpool player this season. Is what I will say. If you publicly want to stay at the club, you would say what like Mohammed said against at Old Trafford when he was questioned by Dave Jones, Roy Keane, and everyone. I want to be a Liverpool player this season and beyond. So that to me suggests, and I'm not here on hating on Trent because arguably one of my favorite players. I think that gives us a little notion that he's exploring his options. Now there's not a lot to explore outside of England.
Is he
There's only one club.
Is he
What?
flexing his muscles?
I think he is. I think he is, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But I think there's only one club that he will want to join, and that's Real Madrid. If they really come knocking hard for him, I think that quote alludes to that. That quote gives other press media from other outlets, whether it's Daily Mail, Daily Mirror, Telegraph, whoever, it gives them ammunition to say he's leaving next summer.
Well, in the same way, Avi, I'll stick with you. Isn't this quotation encouraging? I've always said I want to be captain of the club. That is an aim of mine and a goal of mine. Whether that happens is out of my hands, to be honest. Is he putting it on the club here? I want to stay, but if you want me to be a captain, then put the money on the table.
Look, we should be giving him everything. We should be giving him anything and everything. He deserves to be the highest paid player at this football club, alongside the Salahs and Van Dijks. There's no question about that. I've always said I want to captain the club. He has captained the club before anyone goes at him. Okay, he wants to be throughout the season. Well, that's what happens if you stay. Van Dijk's what, 33 now? He's probably got another year at the top, and then maybe if he does sign a contract, his playing time will obviously be, it will be, what's the word I'm looking for? When he's playing time, it'll be compromised a little bit because of the legs. But no, I don't think there's nothing wrong with that quote. It's the quote before the one that I had an issue with.
I'm sick and tired of Real Madrid. I am sick and tired. That is the one club I want to see fall to the ground and never. I despise that football institution. You know that. Just leave us alone, man. Just leave us alone.
No, but they're doing what any top club will do in Europe. Look, Real Madrid is a lure side. Unfortunately, when you've got Vinicius, Rodrigo, you've got Mbappe, you've got Jude, you've got Tchouaméni, you've got Camavinga, you've got Carvajal, who's 32, 33. It could be a match made in heaven. Carvajal next season, his legs, Militao. It is a dream team. Unfortunately, it's Harlem Globetrotters. I think any player out there in the world would be lured by Real Madrid, Trent included. Yes, he's a local lad from Liverpool, but he's also achieved pretty much everything at this football club too. Okay, he wants to captain the club, fair enough, but Real Madrid, there is that lure, the climate, the weather. Jude Bellingham, I think, will be a big sort of, he will be pushing an agenda towards him. So,
Gene, this comment about wanting to win trophies, are we thinking, overthinking? We're trying to read behind the lines.
Not a very smart comment, is it, Damien?
We're trying to read between the lines and say he's talking about Real Madrid.
Look, Asim, I'm not going to sit here and think, regardless of what he's come out with today, I've maintained that Trent will leave, and I've been saying this for months now. These lot have all been saying, sign or see, kal sign or see, pursue, sign or see. Yeah, it's flipping ITKs all 2 weeks, 1 week, 3 weeks.
A big shout out to the ITKs.
Yeah, no, but it's the truth, or kal or see, pursue, see. The truth is, I just think he's off.
That's what it means, mate.
And I've been saying that for a long time.
Satha, you're very. 1 minute. Satha's been very vocal on this. Satha, can you give us the whole context then? Because you've said another comment as well. And by all means, please. You've said I said that if Twitter aggregators want to report an interview, they should have the decency to at least include the questions being asked and not simply break responses over paid tweets. So I'm sure there's much more to it. If you could kindly break it down for us, then it will give us a better understanding. Because right now we're only going off those quotes.
Who's Mr. Negative now? We all said he's going to sign a new deal, but Gene said no. So who's Mr. Negative now? But it's always when I do it, I'm not allowed. But when he does, it's fine.
There's nothing negative about a player's contract. I've been saying this since April, bro. That he's not going to sign. You're the one that said he's signing a contract a month ago. You were saying he's signing next week. But he signed a contract that you was talking about.
So
he's going to sign a contract. The poor put tweets up, Asim. No, 1 second. Guys, come for me 1 second, Avi. The guys put tweets up saying Trent's going to sign, tomorrow's going to sign, this day's going to sign. Can he sign? Yeah.
You said one down, two to go, son. Yes, it's true. You said one down, two to go.
Oh, you chat shit.
That's what happened.
He's a wannabe ITK nowadays. That's what it is. I realized that on his Twitter handle. I want to be ITKs nowadays. I mean,
Trent will sign a new contract.
Oh, you know what? This is Avi. What have you said?
I don't say that anymore. I'm finished.
I still think he's going to sign a new contract. He literally just came out and said, I want to be the captain of this football club. He's obviously not going to be the captain if Virgil van Dijk stays in the next 2 years. So either that indicates that Virgil's leaving and he's going to become the that indicates maybe Virgil's leaving next summer and he's going to be the captain next summer, or that he wants to stay and be the captain when Virgil leaves. It's one or the other.
Look,
Well,
the onus is on the club.
Obviously,
you know.
Sherlock, that's what it means, man. What else does it mean? Look, if I'm honest with you, Asim, I don't think he signs the contract. I've been saying it for a while now.
Asim, you've been concerned.
Yeah.
You reiterated that stance again today.
How
that
can
you're
I not be
concerned.
concerned, Avi? How can I not be concerned when our
Chill
three
out,
of our
guys.
best players in the space of a couple of months can start talking to third parties? How can you not? It's impossible not to be concerned.
Yeah, to be fair, it is October, and our 3 best players are not signed to new contracts, and they can chat
Exactly,
to
Sarib.
that.
How
That
can
is
you not?
concerning, to be honest. I'll be honest.
I think the guys who are saying they're not concerned about these contracts are lying.
I will check it. Look, maybe that's what's happening. We're taking quotes. And
Can I read that?
We're only using the tweets. What's
Can I read that?
Yeah,
Because
Sure, mate.
what people are talking about is the James Pierce article in The Athletic, so I've just got it up. Asked if he wanted to stay at Liverpool, he added, I want to be a Liverpool player this season, and he's put it in brackets as a minimum, is what I will say. Those words were said in the context that he can't commit publicly to any longer than the currently that as that he is how long is left on his contract as discussions continue.
Salah done the same thing. Mo Salah done the exact same thing. He did the exact same thing when he against in the interview at Sky, Avi. He said, as you know, this is my last season at Liverpool, but he said he wanted to stay. That's the only difference. But he also said what that basis is that based on how long he's got left on his deal, they will not be Liverpool players next summer. That's a fact. It's true.
Sorry, do you think it's clever? Because we've seen Van Dijk come out publicly, we've seen Salah, and this was Trent's chance or a moment or opportunity to come out and lay his cards on the table in a public fashion.
I think so. I think absolutely that does make sense. I think that they've Salah and Van Dijk have both done it. Trent was the only one left, and now he's done it. So at least we kind of know that we publicly know that they know they're not going to be Liverpool players next summer unless they offer the new contract. Like, although they already knew that, but it didn't come out in the public with Salah, Van Dijk, and Trent. But now it's come out. Maybe that puts a bit of pressure on Liverpool to speed up the process a bit more. Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah.
Trent will
why are we in this position anyway?
Trent's staying. Trent's going to extend. I don't have name. Again,
does he stay, Sarib?
I think he will stay.
You already told me. Gene, does he stay?
I think they're all going to stay. I think they're all going to stay.
Gene, if I see that.
Gene, does he stay?
Trent?
Yeah.
No.
Asim?
That's interesting as well, Asim.
Also said that none of them are wanting to leave.
Asim?
What about me?
What do you think?
I'm the host.
I'm concerned.
Oh, he's concerned.
Stop being on the fence every time. Do you think he signs or not?
If you want a prediction, yeah, I think he signs.
That's it. That's a wrap. LFC related. Look, there was a big game today. It wasn't a title decider.
We can discuss the Arsenal game.
We have to.
Oh, please, man.
We're a balanced channel. We're a balanced football channel.
Can we do this super chat first, Avi?
Yeah. Ash, if ever the present in our, where's he gone? If ever present in our channel, outside of Haaland, Isaac, would you swap Jota and Darwin for other Premier strikers? And hope you're well this evening. Little mention for that Mac pass yesterday. Incredible technique. We talked about the Mac pass. Absolutely genius. Outside of Haaland, Isaac, would you take Jota and Darwin for any other Premier strikers? Would I take?
So some of us wanted Nunez over Isak.
You know what? I said second season Nicholas Jackson. I liked him at Villa. But I don't know if I would take Darwin over him because I think Darwin had a good season. I want to see what Evan Ferguson does because he's been in and around out of that Brighton team. He's had injuries, but I want to see what he does.
Sorry?
Massive talent.
What was the question? What strikers I'd have over?
If you can't get Haaland and Isaac, is there anyone else that you would take?
Oh, where do I start, mate? Where do I start? Is this just the Premier League or in Europe as well?
Premier League.
João Pedro, he says.
João Pedro, Nicholas Jackson, João Felix, Christopher Nkunku.
João Felix.
I'll take João Felix ahead of
over Darwin Nunez in a 9.
Yeah.
End this show now. And they should put him back into the reserves.
Yeah,
He deserves to go on other channels.
Ollie Watkins. Who else we got? Who else?
Watkins is a shout. Watkins is your first serious shout. João Pedro, no, he's not a 9.
João Pedro is better than Darwin Nunez.
He's not a 9. We're talking about goal scorers, Sarib. 20 plus goal scorers.
Nunez is not that either.
Would you take Mateus Cunha?
Kai Havertz, forgot about him.
Would you take Mateus Cunha?
He's a different striker.
Yeah.
Atik says Jao to all of them.
John Duran, thank you very much. That's another one. I like John
Chicago. We had first dibs on him.
I like John Duran.
From the MLS. Fucking said no. All right, he's named a few strikers. It's fine. Gene, would you take anyone else? I do like John Duran though.
Good player.
If I really had to, then Ollie Watkins over Darwin. That's about it.
I wouldn't have Ollie Watkins over Darwin Nunez.
He's the only one I would. That's it.
I see why it's a good shout.
Why? Why not?
He's 29, 30, isn't he?
How old is he? 29?
At the age, I'm not talking. You're talking about age.
He misses
I'm
a
not
lot of
worried about
chances
the
too. He
age,
misses
man.
a lot of chances too.
But he scores a lot of goals as well.
So Avi, your basis is age.
Yeah, it is.
So why wouldn't you have Gordon over Diaz? Oh, now he's going a bit quiet, isn't he?
I've never. I said Gordon had a good season last season, but obviously Diaz is my boy.
Oh, so
He's
that's
producing the numbers, boy. He's producing the numbers.
Bias, boy.
He's producing the numbers. I'm going by the now. Arsenal, City, Arsenal. I'm going to go to Gene. What did you make of the game? I said to you on Friday on our Chip and Gene show that if Arsenal win, I think it's already, not saying it's not the win the league, but it makes them huge favourites for the league. They didn't get that win. They couldn't hold out. Psychologically, that would be damning, won't it? A little bit on those players because they're still a young team, but they would have felt that when Stone scored that to make it 2-2.
Yeah, look, it was a massive goal for City as well. To be fair, 2-2. To be fair, it's a good. If at the start of the game, from a Liverpool perspective, I was over the moon. I wanted a draw, and that's exactly what we got. Both sides dropped points, so I was happy with that. Look, City controlled the game first 20-25 minutes. I thought that they played really well first half an hour. Until the Rodri injury. Rodri got injured, and I think Arsenal played well for 15 minutes. Then obviously that decision that probably turned the game on its head. But as you mentioned, Arsenal's defensive shape and the defensive, like they defended like monsters, man. You got to give them a lot of credit. He's right. It was like the performance that Inter Milan gave against Barcelona all them years ago, and also Chelsea in that semi-final when they went 1-0 down against Barcelona. And they beat him. So fair play to them. They looked really, really good. And I think the biggest compliment I can give Arsenal is that City would run out of ideas. City didn't know where the goal was going to come from. They just looked lost. I thought Guardiola's tactics just didn't make sense. You're going for a goal, and every single substitution was pretty practically like for like. I would have expected probably Pep of all managers to go a bit more brave, and they didn't. But they got that goal. It's fine margins in this Premier League, and that, like you mentioned, that win for Arsenal would have been massive, but they didn't get it over the line. And now obviously that they will probably feel as though that will feel like a loss to them. And in terms of the decision for the red card, flipping, I'm going to be honest, it was harsh, but I just think it was stupid from what's his name?
Trossard.
You're on a yellow card. You've got 2 games before that. You've seen your own teammates go through that. The foul that you committed was a definite foul. It was a definite foul. Why do that in the first place and then give the referee a decision to make? It was ridiculous, and I think it's on him. I know it was. People can give a lot of shit to the referee, and it was a shit decision, but he had to rein it in, and he didn't. And to be fair, it was a great performance from Arsenal. But I'm a happy chappy tonight, mate. That both teams dropped points. I'm over the moon.
Sarib, in terms of, in the context of the league, what did you make of the game? And who do you think that serves better in terms of everything, in terms of how Arsenal will be feeding off of that 97-minute equaliser? Who is the better team? I think you'd say City, but who benefits from that result today? Not us, but like between those two teams, Arteta or Pep's City. Who does that result benefit more?
I think if you're talking about where they're playing and who they're playing and where they're playing, I think Arsenal would say that they got a good result at Etihad, because last season they were criticised for sitting behind the ball for the majority of the game and grinding out a 0-0 draw. This time was a bit different. With 11 men, they did go 2-1 up, and they did score 2 goals at Etihad, which not many teams are able to do. It's a very difficult place to score goals at Etihad, especially for some of the bigger teams. City tend to turn up in the bigger matches.
The last 2 teams I went, they scored, by the way.
No, it scored more than 1 goal. Score more than 1 goal. Not many teams score more than 1 goal at Etihad. So 2 goals. What I mean, more than 1. It's a very difficult place to score more than 1 goal. I think Liverpool did it. Real Madrid couldn't even do it. I know. Was it 2-2 last season? Real Madrid 1-1 at Etihad. I'm sure it was 2-2. But again,
I think we scored more than 1 goal in the league.
Point stands that the City are solid at home. Everyone knows that. They're unbeaten there in 2 years since Brentford beat them at prior to the World Cup. If you're looking at it like they conceded in the 97th minute, yes, I understand your point about that being a psychological effect for Arsenal. But if you look at the bigger picture, they went away to the Etihad and got a 2-2 draw with 10 men. That's a good result. No matter how you put it, going to the Etihad against your title rivals and getting a point off them away at their ground with 10 men is a good result. Arsenal not going to play like that against them at home. Arsenal will do that. The way they play the Emirates is a very, very tough place to go, as we found out as well. It's a hard place to go, the Emirates. And the fact that they've left the Etihad unscathed, basically, with 10 men, I think that showcases why they are serious this season. Because Jake's point was that regardless of the scoreline, this is not going to affect the title race because of how early it is in the season. I think the real test is going to be when City go to Arsenal, similarly to when Arsenal went to City last season at the same time. That's when we're going to really see who's the better team, because the nitty-gritty, like Gene says, is when you see who's at the top and who's at the bottom. But looking at that defensive structure they put out today with 10 men, the grit they showed, regardless of them conceding the goal, I've not seen anything like that from an Arsenal team in a very long time. And really impressed, man, to be honest. And I had them to win the league, and I'll stand by it because I'm not going to change my opinion. But I was impressed.
Asim, Arsenal have now beaten Villa away, Spurs away, and they've got a draw today.
Yeah, that too. Yeah.
Will they be happy chappies after full time?
Fine line, isn't it, between going there, beating the champions, and conceding a late equaliser. Yeah. The way Arsenal players fell, and it felt like they lost the game. But I think when they went into the changing rooms and then got their showers, and they have to reflect upon the match that, you know what, they would have taken a draw. They would have bit your hand off before the game and said, you know, you come and get a point at the Emirates, at the Etihad.
Isn't it weird? Had they gone 2-1 down Arsenal and they were on the receiving end of scoring, they would have been elated with that. It would have given the players a rise in stature and going forward into the next next fixtures of the Premier League. But because they lost it, and I think it was a stigma. I thought if they had won today, I think it was a huge marker on the league. Huge marker. I think this early on already, I think they would have been devastated.
I think if they conceded that goal, although I've just said like they were deflated, but I think if they were against 11, it was 11v11, and Arsenal conceded a late equaliser, they would have been. It would have been might have had an impact. Even though we're trying to make a judgment here after 4, 5, 6 games is ludicrous. But you've asked the question now, so I'm going to try to answer it as best as possible. But the way they defended heroically, albeit they conceded a late equaliser, I still think they have to take so much out of this game. City were rubbish, and Gene touched on it. Guardiola, I don't think was right. Even the last 5 minutes, he changed the positioning of Foden, and I think it was Kovacic that he brought over to the touchline, where Foden was starting picking up those little left side, right channels, and he was trying to cut in and try to take a shot, and he got blocked a few times. But the way the Arsenal structure was, and I know it's easier when you've got nothing to think about and defense. Because I wanted to see Arsenal how they play for 90 minutes against City is completely different. As well as Arsenal did, and as well as I hyped them up with that performance in terms of defensive display, is completely different. And we saw it for literally 10 seconds when Martinelli reached the halfway line, and then he couldn't get back in as the sixth defender, and they got nearly down the sides. But when you put 6 players in the back line, even the greatest sides can't get in behind. 6 bloody defenders and 3 midfielders in front of them, and who worked so hard, and they were just trying to pop it from left to right, and those 3 players kept on coming out, and they were unbelievable. And I don't think there's not many sides who could have done that today. And Arteta's, the way Arsenal defended, it just showed you how their structure is so good and how well coached of a side they are as well. But
he called it a miracle, Asim. He said it was a miracle. He said it was a miracle. That's what he said. His interview. He said it was a miracle.
I don't think it was look, any manager is going to go crazy after that type of performance and back his troops. But as good as they were, I was also disappointed with City in terms of but Guardiola's going to say, look, any side's going to miss the likes of Rodri and De Bruyne. De Bruyne can pick up a pass from anywhere, and when you've got some opposition pinned in the box, there's not many, if not he's the best player in the world, where he just keeps on moving it left to right, and he's got that little dink into the left channel or the right channel, and Rodri, where he sits on the outside the box and he just controls the game with the opposition pinned in the box. But I thought City struggled, but Arsenal were unbelievable.
That little annoying little run.
Avi, what are your thoughts on Bernardo Silva?
I was just about to read the same quote. Ali had sent it to me on a DM. So Bernardo Silva said
I hate the rat, but I like this comment.
The difference between the rivalry
with Arsenal and Liverpool, maybe it's that Liverpool have already won a Premier League and Arsenal haven't. That Liverpool have won a Champions League and Arsenal.
It's so easy. It's so easy to rattle these guys. It's so easy. You give one bad result, they're rattled. They're so rattled. He does this all the time. He's a bit of a.
He's a rat. He's a rat, but he's a good rat today.
It's mind games, though. It's mind games. As little advantage or little things. It shows Bernard. It shows to me that City are threatened by them. They are threatened by them, and that's full respect to.
I get that.
That's full respect to Arsenal. When you're talking about a different team and you're saying, "Oh, but they haven't done this. They did this when we were in the rivalry with Liverpool. They've done this." It shows that they respect Arsenal in a weird way. Gene, coming back to you, is it a 3-horse race?
Standard, mate. Standard. I will back my team always, regardless. We've won 4 out of 5. Why am I gonna give up on Liverpool? I'll never give up on Liverpool until I feel as though it's over. We will go. Inshallah, we'll win the next 2 games and we'll take it from there. That's when the big games will come, and hopefully we'll be able to get a few more wins against the big teams. If that happens, then why not? If we can get to January in thereabouts, and if we can strengthen in a couple of areas, I think we'll be there. If we were good enough to go against these 2 teams last season, and we were in 10 games ago, we were top of the table. Why can't we go again? I understand it's not easy, and I know the Arsenal have improved. They've brought in a couple of more players, and we probably haven't improved in terms of incomings, but our players have improved. And I think that might be a slight advantage, because obviously Gravenberch hasn't come in, but he's a completely different player from last season. So that's a plus on to Liverpool when it concerns him. But we will have to wait and see. I'm not going to write off my Liverpool if that's what you're thinking. No chance.
Avi, I want to ask you about this, because I think this is a continuation of the Bernardo quotation. I think he went on to say Liverpool have always faced us head on to win matches. From that perspective, our games against Arsenal haven't been like the matches against Liverpool and still are. Because a lot of Arsenal fans are saying that we're going toe to toe.
They're not going toe to toe, man.
I don't think they're going toe to toe with Manchester City. What I class as going to toe to toe is saying your football is progressive football. My progressive football is slightly different, and it was heavy metal, and it troubled Guardiola. I don't think this Arsenal side trouble Guardiola or give the headaches to him. It's about breaking down that block. Although they're resolute and they've shown that they're unbelievably defensively in terms of their structure, when a team like Mane and Salah and Bobby, you heard him in that Amazon, what do you call it?
Documentary,
documentary, where he was playing
nightmares,
and he was talking about Liverpool. And Liverpool, that's what I call going toe to toe against the best.
That's one of the.
I don't call this going toe to toe.
That's one of the best teams ever.
But Asim, I do feel stylistically, Arsenal's a very bad match for City. It's a very ugly match for them.
Yeah,
I think the games will be tight between those two.
two boxers going to toe with each other is go swinging at each other. That's what I go. That's what I go.
But then you'll see a more disparity of results. You'll see Liverpool win like a 3-1 or a 3-0 at home. Whereas these games, stylistically, because the ugly matchup, because not toe to toe, because one's defensively more resolute.
More like a chess
Floyd
match.
Mayweather, if you go boxing terms, Floyd Mayweather against big opponents in boxing, he was always defensive first. It was always about the art of defensive, where someone will be coming in for him, and he will counter punching. This is the same. I think Arsenal City games will be a lot more closer than Liverpool and City. I think the quality of games, though, hands down, Liverpool, Man City. I've not seen when it comes to quality, one of the greatest games, and unfortunately we lost, was the 2018-19 game at Etihad.
What a game!
For me, that was the most complete game of football over a course of 90+ minutes. For me.
Hey, look, Asim, I 1 second. When I look, I respect Arsenal the way I was expecting Arsenal to play the way they played over the last couple of seasons. They've scored a lot of goals. It's Arteta, Guardiola type of mall player playing with the 4 centre backs. You expect them to be a bit more expansive. You expect them to, to go slightly toe to toe against City, but they didn't do that, and I don't think that's good enough for me in terms of Arsenal side going to the Etihad and getting a result. One thing with Pep and Klopp was, regardless of what it was, you're gonna play your defenders on the halfway line, mate. I'm playing my centre backs on the halfway line, bro. It was come on, show me what you've got. And this is what was the beauty why everybody loved them games. And look, we got the better of Pep on many occasions. And this is why you have to respect Klopp the way he went toe to toe with the thingy. Look, this is anti-football from Arteta. Yes, you get the results. But from a perspective of going for a spectacle,
I think that's too extreme.
It's anti-football, man.
It's not, and you can't say it's anti-football, but you can't. But no, anti-football.
It's Tony Pulis. It's Tony Pulis.
Very extreme. Very extreme.
Let me tell you why.
Going against the biggest teams in the world, man. You're in Arsenal. They play a certain way. This is go out there and show them how good it is. This is my thing. And the thing is, Arsenal can play that way. It's not like they're a shit football team. They've got a quality all over the pitch. And for them to go and spark a bus, look, they did it last year. TK, fine. Here, I expected a bit. Look, they did all right today. To be fair, look, it's not their fault today. They had a good 15 minutes before the player got sent off, and he got sent off. Then they had no choice to sit back, which is fair. Today they had no choice. But generally speaking, I'd expect them to say, you know what?
I don't think we would have played like that with 11 men, because with 11 men they were 2-1 up. If you look at they were winning 2-1 at halftime with 11 men before Trossard.
Yeah, I know they were, but look, it's still okay. Look, let's face it, man. I'm not gonna have a go at them. I'm not having. I'm just generally. We're just talking about play.
Yeah, of course.
I'm just talking about play, right? I expected, they have a really, really good football team, Arsenal do. There's no doubt about that. But I get it. You know what? Their structure's a lot better. They're defensively sound. They don't concede a lot of goals. I know they've conceded 3 this season now, but let's face it. They're defensively, they're by far the best team in the league, right? But I still expect more from you. Toe to toe is when you're saying you're going punch for punch, not punch me. I'm going to block you. I'm going to block you. I'm going to block you.
But that's
defending all game.
That's where it's different. Everyone knew Arteta was going to play Lobakov 2-1 up, but you do that at Etihad. Like, he's got the players to do that. So when you've got the personnel to play this way with the defenders that he has, of course you're going to play like that. If Liverpool, for example, were 2-1 up at the Etihad and under Arne Slot said just defend because we have the personnel to do so, we'd call it a defensive masterclass. We would all say it, and we got the result. It's just unfortunate that they conceded the goal.
Yeah, we don't play defense. We don't play defensively though.
Sarib, you many times said, it's fine margins.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why I think that goal they conceded is a bit like, based on the context of the game, they were winning in the 97th minute. That's where I was like, oh, maybe they should have held on a bit longer. But if you apply the other side, they had 10 men for half a game at the Etihad, and that's why I don't
have a problem, Sarib, with Arsenal going to the Etihad and playing.
Yeah, neither do I.
But it's 10 against 10 with 10 or 11. What I do have a problem with Arteta, I think he's gone a bit too, that way. In terms of
he's scared
of Porto last season, even this season, I think Arsenal can go. Even Atlanta are a very, very unique side. I just think he just goes into his shell a bit too much.
He's
That's
scared
all.
of getting battered. He's scared of getting battered, which Klopp wasn't. He wasn't scared
Yeah.
of getting humiliated. And there was a few results at Etihad where Klopp did get humiliated. 5-0.
Sorry.
There was a couple of results at Etihad that Liverpool were not. We lost 4-0 there in the title winning after we won the league. Whether that was COVID,
We won the league that time. We're not bothered
No,
about that
but
game.
we the way we play is not going to change. Klopp
Yeah,
always
you can't bring up we got battered because we won the league and we were all pissed before the game. That's what happened in that game. Liverpool half drunk.
We've gone to the Etihad and still been battered. Is my point. Arteta doesn't want that to happen. He's scared of getting battered. That's why he sits back.
We won the league. Who gives a crying crap about that game, man?
I don't think he's scared of getting battered. I think he wants to be resolute in the way he approaches games. It is very Mourinho-like. Look, Mourinho based his game on this. Until he got to Inter Milan, where he had a very entertaining team there. Chelsea first season, he had Drogba, he had Duff. But that third season, that second stint when they won it, they were very resolute first and foremost, defensively solid first and foremost. The second stint,
his challenge is to bring that transition threat. I don't think that even Martinelli today, I know it's very, very difficult to get when they were down to 10 men, but they just don't carry that threat. But what Arteta's way of thinking is, if I don't have that transition threat,
I'll stop there.
I've got the set piece threat.
Yeah, that as well.
I will tell you one thing now, Asim. I think Arsenal will draw a lot more games this season.
I won't be surprised.
Look, for me, I've said it
because
they need to get.
Because I just think they will draw more this season because they're not. From what I've seen of Arsenal, look, don't get me wrong. Even against Spurs should have scored. Right? They've not been great. Arsenal, yes, they've got the results, but they're not been great.
How many goals have they scored so far this season? 8?
8 and now 3 they've conceded. 2 came when they had 10 men.
See, Sarib knows all their stats.
No,
everyone knows this sports stats, man. No, Sarib, don't think that is a.
I'm joking.
No, but then you get people in the comments who come for him, man. It's not fair.
I'm joking with him, man.
Can we give selection? Obviously, siding with the Sarib today. Arteta right there. Thank you for the super chat. Can you become a member as well, please? God's sake. Arteta right there to entertain neutrals. Besides, Arsenal are expansive against most teams. Arteta wanted a result and he got it. And
if Slot played at Lex, I'd have no issue with it. I'd absolutely no issue with it because I don't care if we got Etihad and he thinks we're gonna get battered and he sits behind the ball and we win the game too. I don't give a shit.
Gina's old enough to remember George Graham.
I don't care.
It was dire, but it was successful.
They used to won 1-0 to the Arsenal. That was the chant.
Arteta knows Pep's team's better than his. He knows this. He psychologically knows that this is who I learned from. I've never beaten this guy in a time. There's pressure on Arteta. If Pep doesn't win this league this season, he doesn't care. He's got 7. It doesn't bother him. There's pressure on Arteta, especially from where they were the last 2 seasons. And I think he has to win it. And you said it as well, Asim, that
those 7 will be null and void, son.
Asim has Arsenal to win the league as well, including not only me. Arsenal has it.
I say Arsenal too. I still say Arsenal today.
You have
Arsenal. But it's a 3-horse race. In my head, it's a 3-horse race.
You two had Liverpool. What do you mean?
You made.
Who?
You.
Make as many as I want. What you tell me that?
Made a new one today.
As many as I want.
He's made a new one today. He said, I've been convinced by Gene a couple of weeks ago. And he went to Liverpool.
I'm changing my mind. Can't I change my mind? I said Arsenal before. I said Liverpool. I said because of his energy, because he started ranting and blah blah like he does with his green sheet behind him. I said Liverpool to win the league. I said Liverpool to win the league.
Listen, mate. Listen, no, boys. No, you.
Yeah, he's muted.
No, you worry, mate. This is happening, mate. No, you worry. Everybody's talking about them too. No, you worry. I'm telling you, with the next 2, mate, you're gonna know about it. We're gonna come for these fuckers.
You know what? I know it's obviously against Liverpool, but it just pissed me off. If Rodri gets injured, we see Zubimendi come to City in January.
Oh no!
When I saw that and there was talk about ACL, that's the first thing I thought. Zubimendi's gonna end up there.
I can see it.
If we go by slot, we're not in for him in January.
We are in for Zubimendi, man. It's so obvious.
See, I told these ones were only by ITK.
No,
I'm not saying anything anymore.
What's Slot gonna say? Yeah, what's Slot gonna say?
Avi's working in silence.
Say that, is he?
Fully now, ITK, I'm fully gone. I'll say I'm
till tomorrow.
Shit show after that, summer. No way.
Yeah, he's on a 0 out of 20 right now. So,
Avi, you will never ever retire.
I'm done. Okay, calm down. Are we done? All good?
2 hours and 8 minutes.
2 hours.
This is the calling show.
yeah,
It's a
happens
calling
when
show,
the hell,
mate.
man.
That's what
Hey,
happens
these
when
guys
you
know how
when
a
you
calling show is like now.
The
If I
truth is,
did-
2
the
hours.
four of us haven't been on the show for a long time. It makes up for lost time.
Yeah,
Makes
true.
up
That's
for-
fair.
Guys, this has been Born in Red. Thank you so much. Asim was a bit under the weather today. That's why he kept going on and off screen. Very unprofessional of him, but hey, oh, it is what it is. We will be doing shows this week. We might not do a West Ham preview, but we'll definitely do a post-match West Ham. Chip and Gene will be back on Friday, I think. Saturday, we've got the Wolves game. Maybe a post-match reaction. Are you two going to be away?
Yeah.
No, I'm not going to do it.
I am.
So
Is it
probably
both?
a post-match from Gina. A big up at Gina and his little boy, by the way. Great result. Bournemouth. His first game 9-0, 3-0 at Anfield. Hardy needs to go to every Liverpool Bournemouth game at Anfield. So he was enjoying that. And then obviously we'll be going into post-match reaction probably from Gene in the car against Wolves, and then we'll be back on Sunday, possibly a Thursday show between Gene, Jake, and Sarib.
What did you have? We've got
Yeah.
our show every day next week.
That's it. Guys, make sure you have liked and subscribed. Make sure you go and check out our new sponsors, which is www.schneckerlig.com. That's schneckerlig.com for all LFC apparel. Give them a look. Great stuff. I'm sure you'll be purchasing their merch. And please use BNR10. That's BNR10 on the discount code when you check out. Thank you so much. This has been Born and Red. This has been the four of us. Over and out. Thank you. God bless you.
Take care, everyone.
Thank you very much, guys. See you later. Bye-bye.